tell me, where do I take us? Your heart is starting to slow. May the water be safe. As I dive in, blood stains washing underneath the waves. I'll be reaching out to keep you safe.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to Serenity Gaming's Wintersplit. My name is CJ, and in keeping with the Halloween theme, we've lined up a pair of monsters to fight out here tonight with SRG Hydra and SRG Chimaera. Holding my virtual hand through this terrifying ordeal will be Hat. Now, please tell me, what scares you more, my dude, Hydras or Chimeras?
Well, definitely Hydra's here because they have so many heads. I qualify that as super spooky.
True.
And I am not ready for whatever that will entail. If we go to Chimeras, I mean, a Hydra should eat a Chimera, but Chimeras can be tricky, and so maybe that'll catch them. As we go into this draft phase, we see both teams are similar in standings, and we see the Zed, Caitlyn, Nautilus, Katarina, and Fiddle ban. These are direct bans toward that mid lane for SRG Chang and Yerinter.
Exactly. The Zed is not a surprise for me to see it taken away. I believe it is Yeginter's most played, and it's up there on SRG Chang's as well. However, I still am fairly confident we are going to see some assassins coming through on that mid lane. You know, both of these players love that style.
Exactly. I'm not surprised, however, to see the Kai'Sa hover here, because both ADCs can play Kai'Sa, and it's really up to whether Bowmaster and Postcassin are going to play the Glacial Bot with the Ashen Braum, or we're going to see Give Me Second Blue and Blanca play the Kai'Sa Leona, which has been familiar. And hopefully, based on what has been hovered for Bowmaster, is this Xayah. We might see a Xayah Rakan today.
Yeah, we have in fact seen the two ADCs on this patch have been picked. It's Kai'Sa and Xayah, so we've locked that one down nice and easy. No crazy mage bot lanes for this one. Gonna keep it nice and simple. If you look at the rest of the bans that come through, the Nautilus was actually taken away by the side of Hydra, so they denied themselves that combo, and the Leona's been stolen away by Chimaera. So I wonder what Give Me Second Blue is gonna take. Nami is their most played, but it's really not a common support on this patch.
It is not a common support, but they probably, if they can't go Braum for those stacks, they can't go Alistar, which they might pick. They're definitely going to look for a caster here. Lulu did get a little bit of buffs. You can still pick Pyke into Leona as long as you play it safe, and so you can still have those threats. Monkholm with the J4 pick, which is going to force Prompo onto something they haven't played a lot in the SRG gaming split. We are seeing the Alistar come out, which is great disengage for Leona as long as you're able to bypass all of those stuns that Postcassin was going to dish out.
Exactly, so good call on you calling that, Alistair, and we're seeing a lot of champions being taken away from each other right now, with the Jarvan being stolen on one side, Leona on the other, and the Gangplank being locked in for Chimaera. Is this like a common pick for them, or is this their usual style?
So, Pinata, when you play Gangplank, whenever you pick Gangplank in a draft, you pick them because you know that the top lane really isn't going to be your focus, and you're okay with losing that lane if worst comes to worst. Obviously, Gangplank is one of those laners that you can lose gracefully, and so banning out the Camille, anyone that has that engage or that extra oomph that Zebcraft could use to overpower GP and put them behind even more without scaling. It's like playing Ryze, but it's top lane, and you have better escapes, and you're a pirate. So, keeping with the theme of Halloween, dressing up as Gangplank today as will be Pinata. That Karthus ban, however, really trying to narrow what Prompo can do with this J4 in the jungle today.
Exactly, they have taken away one spooky champion in the Karthus, but they've left open the Hecarim as well. This is something that both of these junglers have played a fair amount as far as I can tell, so it could be something that Prompo does kind of pivots into. It still can be very effective early on in a... Oh, well, there it goes. I guess not. The Hecarim is taken away by
But they're
Hydra.
listening, CJ.
They have
like
identified. It's like, no! That they have identified.
Nunu and Willem. Oh, Snowball, we're rolling. We're skipping Halloween. We're skipping Halloween. We're going straight to the holidays, and
Yeah.
I'm excited for this. We actually get to see really impactful ganks with Nunu and Willem because they are able to then apply that CC when they get to lane and keep applying that CC. So, an interesting that can go mid or top. Kale for Chang or Zebcraft. We're definitely going to have to see what Yerinter picks. I don't imagine it would be mid, but it is very safe into that Gangplank as we see the Syndra hover here.
Yeah, that's going to be locked in for Chang, so no assassins on that side, and you got to believe the Kale is going top lane into that Gangplank, so a lot of scaling up there, some decent range, and I imagine nothing too explosive going through here, as we see the Kassadin locked in for Yeginter. This is a little bit more in keeping. There's so much damage and mobility going into that late game. That can get very, very scary as we scale up here. I think both of these teams have got just great frontline, they've got good scaling damage, they've got good mix of damage, maybe a little bit on the AP side for Hydra, but overall, I'm liking these balanced team comps.
Well, the last time we saw Yerinter on Kassadin, he went 13-4-3.
Oh
and
boy.
yeah, and it was a really rough early game, but it was able to roam and then able to impact the side lanes and really destroy, at that time, I believe it was a Kaiser Lulu. And so very familiar in that retrospect. In retrospect. So I'm actually giving the edge based on draft to SRG Chimaera because their scaling picks actually match what their team is trying to do. For example, if you boop someone away as Alistar, what do you have, a Kayle or a Jarvan? It's not really synergistic, and so you're really going to have to time those abilities. As we go into this delay, there's something that I really want to bring up, and that is when you look at this mid lane, the only way Hydra can really be impactful is if Munkholm makes those plays post or pre-level 4. Because if you're able to do that before Prompo gets online, or able to even get a scuttle, if you can test that first scuttle, you're going to set yourself up to then be more impactful before you drop off. We've seen Nunus and Willems be able to carry the game based on sheer tankiness and empowering that Q to be able to use as a double smite around objectives. And so Munkholm is really going to have to work around that come the mid and late game.
Exactly, and I think that Nunu and Willem, I don't want to discount the amount of effective ganks that the champion can pull off as well, just using that snowball. And when you're going up against a Syndra who currently has the teleport as far as we can see, so likely will only have the one mobility summoner, and you've got Xayah Leona backing up that CC chain in the bot lane, this could be really scary and just really hard to get away from in early ganks. So Prompo could be matching Moncom in terms of that early game pressure.
He could. And I think that's going to make this game exciting. Obviously, unless something happens crazy level 1, we aren't going to have a spooky, scary early game fiesta. But as people as these players then start to scale up and get those first and second items, they're going to want to skirmish. The reason is Pinata will have level 6, Sebcraft will be arranged almost to a champion level. And so just being able to move across the map effectively, whoever does that first and more proactively is going to have an edge throughout the entire game.
Yeah, there's gonna be. It's even hard to separate any times coming through the mid game where either team really has a consistent edge. I mean, the Syndra, you'd imagine, is a little bit more effective once you're on that kind of 1.5 item lanes almost done area, but Gangplank Ultimate is just eternally relevant all across the map, and Sebcraft is going to be still very weak at that stage. So there's never really a time when either team can go, okay, now this is our time to shine, unless somebody gets absolutely beaten down in that lane phase.
Well, I would argue that the Kayle is a ticking time bomb. And so if you are playing Sebcraft, what you want to do is play your 4-1 or as 5. They would probably work better as 5. And then basically you're hoping that Sebcraft can get online more than Yerinter can, which is going to be the challenge.
So I mean, what items are these people going to start coming online? Does Kayle, you need that level 16, it's very important as well, but how relevant is this champion going to be if you're maybe 3 items in level 15 compared to Kassadin once you said that 3-item spike? Where do these champions actually hit that critical mass in terms of the hits?
Okay, so critical mass for your enter on this Kassadin is as much burst as you can do. So that 3-item, that appropriate Lich Bane build even, but just making sure you have enough mana and you have enough cooldowns to then be able to burst block, or you won't be able to do Jarvan or Alistar. So it's basically you have 3 targets with the Syndra in that mid lane. And so as we check out these runes, that'll kind of tell us a little bit more. We are seeing Klepto on Sebcraft. We are seeing Fleet Footwork on your enter on this Kassadin. And then pretty standard for Blocka and Bowmaster with that lethal tempo and press the attack on the Kai'Sa. So what this is telling me is that when Yerinter is in the early game, they are not looking to scale as hard as Sebcraft could. And so if I am Munkholm, I need to catch Gangplank out of position, because there's one way you can do that, and that's by forcing them to push up by playing a champion that can't push a wave. Gangplank wants you to push a wave so that they can barrel, clear the wave, and then give an opportunity for your jungle. When you pick Kayle, Munkholm's an early game jungler, and it opens that opportunity to use them. So as we set up the stream here, I'm putting my eggs in the Chimaera basket here, but by all means, if Hydra get an edge, we could see a really fun series today.
I imagine we will, and both of these teams, they're sitting up near the top of that leaderboard. They are fighting for that top spot, both, I believe, the same level right now. So a win in this series could be very important for either side. The average elo, of course, is Diamond 3 for the both. They're both very evenly matched. And I think that, I don't believe I've casted a 3-game series in SRG yet, and I think that today could be the day, Han.
I believe so too. These teams will show if they're evenly matched or one has just been smurfing the entire time and wants to roll over those top teams like 7 a.m. So being able to do that as much as possible is kind of what we're looking for. Obviously, no major early game action, but I do want to see what kind of strategies and what kind of pathings both teams take.
I think that, I mean, even just from level 1, we can possibly see the crazy invades coming through. They both have the Alistair, obviously, you have to commit a little harder for that level 1, because you only really have the headbutt or the pulverize. Realistically, it's got to be a flash Q. Leona, though, a little bit easier in that regard, so the snowball as well coming through from Prompo could be another hard committal to that level 1, though obviously you don't have your consume. I would like to see it, though, given that we're playing at this high level, this Division 1 level, I don't imagine we'll be seeing too much thrown away on pretty 50-50 plays.
Yeah, I don't think we'll see a lot of many mistakes here as Prompo sets up in that mid lane. I don't think we'll see a lot of many mistakes. I do think, however, we are going to see occasional missteps, especially from your inter who does like to play aggressive, or even from Chang in the mid lane that might get too confident because of the early game power that a Syndra would have on a pre-level 5 Casimir.
Yeah, I would imagine that mid lane Yginter, with that fleet footwork, he knows he's got to be careful early on, and the Jarvan obviously such a big threat. Realistically, Prompo, as you said, can possibly affect this top lane, but it's going to be hard to get the push in their favor. So, do you think it's going to be bot lane? Is that Prompo's only good option, really, as a first early gank?
I think Prompo's good early option has to be mid lane, just to relieve the pressure. Because if it is bot, you run the risk of being counter-ganked by Moncomb with the Alistar CC. Post-casting, or especially Leona players, are really good at getting in. It's really hard to get out. Where if you play Alistar, you know, based on rune choice and abilities, you have enough CC to walk out. So it's going to be difficult for Prompo to actually do anything on this map early besides farm, get to any power spikes, any levels, any AP or tankiness that they want to go, and then start impacting those lanes. Which is kind of what I'm seeing hopefully happen in this top lane, which is Pinata playing a little back, still farming up, but not pushing lane heavily, so that Prompo can blow the flash on Zepcraft.
I like seeing that they've committed the wards down to bot side of Chimaera. They even replaced it post-Cassim, and Brewmaster got theirs cleaned out by Jarvan, but went back in to make sure they had the vision to keep track of this Jarvan. They don't want to fall behind early, and I really like that from them, as Chang is getting a bit uppity in the jungle as well.
He is. He just cleared his red side, which tells me that he's looking to invade on a Nunu, which is fine. Or you could clear it out. But as a matter of fact, they don't really know where Prompo's starting or finishing because it's so hard to gank, as it kind of paths towards this bot lane here. Seeing if they can bypass any wards that Postgasson did.
Yeah, they've gone for the deep wards in the jungle, but he has come straight down the river, so they might not see him coming in here. The Alistar has that combo online. As soon as Brewmaster and Postgasson...
But Prompo...
he's looking for it. He's going forward. Here comes that Jarvan engage onto that combo, onto the Leona. A lot of damage come down, but the heal quickly stymies it out. In comes that Nunu. They've now knocked up the Jarvan into that combo. It's a first blood over to the side of Brewmaster, turning that play on its head.
And just incredible play coming in as well. Just being able to sense that direction of, well, I'm already down to the bot lane. I haven't seen any pathing of Moncomb to that top side, meaning that just understanding where you would path. As we see Prompo look for this mid lane here.
Coming in with that snowball. Now Chang is way out of position at this point. Nowhere he can really go. Scatters him past. The snowball drives past into nothingness. Flashes away. The root comes down and actually is cleared up. by Yginter on this Kassadin, getting a kill in that mid lane exactly where he wants to be.
Exactly. No, and I think a good part of this is something that we had brought up a little bit earlier, as you know, Scuttle gets contested a little bit here from Moncomb and Prompo, is that if you're able to impact that mid lane, it's just far easier for your then to scale, especially with one kill under their belt, getting the little bit of that gold lead and being able to buy immediately your Catalyst of Eons.
That is what we want, getting scaling up to those options as fast as possible. Top lane, if we just check back on here, we can see that it has gone pretty much as you'd expected. It's just kind of being shoved in and out. Pinata has the wave under his control. Nice CS lead on him, though. Doesn't have the Kleptomancy to abuse that quite so hard, but it's got to be happy with this sort of CS lead he's built for himself.
Yes, and just being able to have those scuttles in there, and that CS, and we are seeing Air to actually just go in on this. Just being able to get that extra poke damage, not knowing where Moncomb is, but being able to say that, hey, I can poke you now. Thank you for giving me a mana item. The biggest part that we really didn't discuss in length is actually jungle pathing to camps, because that increases your levels here. So being able to do this and being kind of choked out of their jungle is Moncomb, because now they're forced to play tank Jarvan and straight clear and hope they can find those initiatives on the map instead of being proactive in creating them. You are forced to play reactively as Moncomb on this Jarvan.
Let's see if he's going to be able to shake off this early game, which has gone pretty decidedly in the favor of Chimaera. Finally, a wave has built up and it's rolling into this lane from Prompo with the snowball. It's going to be sniffed out by Sepcraft and he's easily going to walk away, but overall managed to even up the CS somewhat on this Kale, so maybe not too much to be lost in that top lane yet.
Not yet, but I definitely think that if Pinata plays this lane right, this is that... Ooh, here, they're going in on the mid lane. Can he not? Just no mana on Chang here.
Yeah, very aggressive play. Chang still going for this poke, but you cannot really contest when your mana is in that state. It's really unfortunate that he's fallen this far behind, as now Moncomb, he's looking to get back into the spot lane, looking for some redemption perhaps after that first gank. Ooh, the engage goes a little wide, but now counter engage from Alistair. Straight onto postcast, and Moncomb now comes out of hiding to try and finish it up. The flag and drag is available, but a beautiful gangplank goal stops him back. Second blue now caught on the wrong side of town. He actually gets wiped off the face of the earth. Leona picks it up, but a fight that went back and forth several times.
Exactly, and what you're really kind of looking at here is the ability to be able to react to what ultimates are online, and can you be confident enough? If you were to watch that back, Give Me Second Blue did not talk to Moncomb saying, hey, I'm going in, therefore getting caught out of position and being able to be pinned by Postcassin and get that kill secured. In that bot lane for SRG Chimaera, we are seeing some skirmishes in this mid lane, although we do not have Lost Chapter on SRG Chang, which is really that power spike.
Yeah, he's not going to be able to keep up this poke forever just on the double Doran's Ring. Does have a fairy charm to bump up that mana regen just a smidge, but overall I think Yginter, while getting pushed around now, this lane is just still in such a comfortable position for Kassadin, knowing how much of a monster he's going to become in that mid lane.
Exactly. Something I kind of want to throw out here is Debcraft and Pinata. The tides have turned for this pirate as we see Prompo head into the mid lane, where you do not have the range advantage over Debcraft's Kale. And so hopefully, you know, this 4-5 farm lead was able to sate something, or even getting an assist was able to get a little bit of gold, because now you're going to start falling behind if you don't play the lane right. And because Prompo isn't showing top, then it's going to be free farm for Sebcraft unless they get caught out. And because the item pathing for Sebcraft is with that Vampiric Scepter, telling me that they're going to go Gunblade, then I am kind of worried that Pinata won't be able to sustain up there without any jungle pressure.
Yeah, just the pure sustain coming from Sebcraft with Vamp Scepter going on Gunblade, plus Corrupting Potion, plus Biscuits from Inspiration Tree. There's just, you cannot whittle down this Kale. Even Gangplank, the king of sustain with the oranges on deck, cannot just... you just can't poke them down below half at any one point.
And you can't, without running risk of chasing and then having the other jungler really be on you. A good point to make in this, even diamond matchup of teams, is the warding pressure on the map. The more Kale pushes top, the more Prompo has to focus top, which gives Dragon away, as
Focusing top, he is. The snowball comes in into an easy stun. Sebcraft now has to drop the ultimate pretty early, but the frozen
flash.
ultimate escapes with the flash. Sebcraft gets away with his life.
He does. He really does. But at the end of the day, that's still a win because you're able... It's still a win for Hydra here because you're still able to keep prio on Dragon because you are, even though very lightly, pushing out your Inter as they rotate to this Dragon.
I like the respect Ginter gave that because he doesn't know where Jarvan is. They are actually on this Dragon, as you say, which they've spotted out, but this is a 4v3, and they just can't contest. An easy Cloud Drake secured for the side of SRG Hydra.
And that's just having more tools at your disposal than the enemy team. When you have Alistar that can push someone away, when you know that Prompo's up in that top lane, that's an easy objective to take, and that's really kind of mirroring what we talked about with Sebcraft being able to bully Pinata. You force the jungle pressure up top, and then you kind of are objectiveless if you are Prompo. Now you're regulated to clearing out wards and trying to make something happen, but you've already kind of done everything you could because Jang got a little bit behind, but now has last chapter. Your Inter had to spend another type of their currency on more mana items and try to get them online later. And so right now, even though the gold lead is favoring Chimaera, this is a perfect time in the game where Hydra can get online because there's nothing to do.
We need to see... I'd like to see Montcop get a little bit more stuck in, honestly. We've seen him with 2 attempted ganks bot lane. Neither of them went particularly well. And he is now basically relegated to farming the jungle against the Nunu, who's been throwing snowballs left and right. And actually
farming.
Yeah, exactly. Making great impact on the lane, plus keeping up in CS. So I really like what Prompo's been doing on this pick. When Montcom took away what was Prompo's signature pick so far in the league.
And I think I like seeing Prompo on other junglers because it shows me that they can be much more than utility. You're into with the emote spam in the mid lane.
Game.
Yeah, it's that mental. We are seeing Sebcraft push Pinata back, but it is Gangplank being able to then sustain and farm under tower is Gangplank's entire MO.
Ooh. Nice ward there, spotting out the invade. That could have gone very south for the Syndra. They're committing for this one. Their Prompo knocked up an instant unleash power, and Prompo finally goes down. Syndra getting a kill on the board.
So many balls on the ground, CJ, and nothing scarier than just getting one shot by one of the best skill shots in the game, a Syndra R.
Exactly. The amount of skill on display.
It does mean that this mid lane is kind of left open unless your Inter can make something happen here.
He is getting
another
low
kill
right now.
Yeah.
Has to escape over the wall. We saw him taking command of it after he got that kill, but now, as you say, these mana items they ain't helping him in the trades, and Chang got himself a blue buff and just poking him out really well.
And I think that was probably one of the best decisions that Montcom and Chang could do, is if mana is the only reason you can't keep presence in lane, then yeah, toss that blue buff over. In this jungle meta, as the TP comes out for your Inter, when you want to get something, you really have to ask for it because it's not the second blue always goes to your mid lane anymore.
Yeah. We have seen the Rod of Ages is online for Ginter now. The amount of damage is just so different. Oh, the double TPs coming in from Syndra and Kale. They've caught all 3 of them in the wrong side of town. In come the stuns. The Zai ultimates come out, but a beautiful Blade Caller has taken Chang out of commission. Boomaster, he's forced back to the tower and will die eventually. They just leave him to take his own life there, but those TPs only ends up netting a 1-for-1.
And you hate to see it, but more importantly, this is actually a win for Chimaera. They're able to push 2 lanes while everyone on the side of Hydra is just shoving that bot lane. Also being able to clear the minions out with the Pinata's ultimate tells me that the gold lead is still going to be in commanding favor for Chimaera here.
That's such a great move by them, making absolute diamonds out of dust that they were given in that situation. They've got 4 plates down in top lane and 4 in mid lane, 2 in top lane, 3 in bot. They are just hammering these plates away.
They're going to take this tower in the mid lane.
Easy first tower gold. Montcom needs to escape before he gets caught out in the 2v1. But as you say, that's the first turret gold, over 3k. Now the gold lead for Chimaera.
And something that you're going to have to, if you are the side of Hydra, that you're going to have to face is that your Syndra will become less relevant until you group up as 5. So you need to force some sort of mid game, especially with Ocean Drake coming up in about 50 seconds. And so either you force something at Herald, but you want to do it as a team, which is what I thought they were trying to do in this bot lane, to not much success, leaving Pinata and the Gangplank open.
Oh, Prompo's actually come up and found Sebcraft going aggressive in top lane, but there's no assistance from Pinata. Yaginto, though, is cutting him off at the pass. He can go over the wall if he wants to. Doesn't choose to go for it, though. The missing ping from Sebcraft comes out as there was no support. Yaginto, unleashed power, chunks him down to 1.5 bars. Has to retreat to his own jungle. Overall, a little bit of a scrappy play there, and Sebcraft gets away.
Both of these teams very much like to play that scrappy play style, but when you're all playing scaling here, you know, when you have the Kai'Sa, when you have the Kayle, when you have Syndra, Kassadin, Gangplank, and Xayah, like, right now, everyone just needs to not make mistakes and play your game. And with this dragon coming up, and with Herald being currently taken, or at least started by Sebcraft and Monkholm, this opportunity needs to be taken advantage by Hydra, lest they keep their gold lead.
It's... Oh, the ultimate comes down, committed by Postcassin, but doesn't hit anything. They really wanted to start something. Really wanted to get something going, and now they're just going to lose the Rift Herald. Ooh, Pinata's coming over, looks for a cheeky Q, can't get it down. Sebcraft chases him back to his own tower. The barrels will stop that chase, and there's 2 members of Chimaera on that bottom side as well. Chimaera's just going to slink away, as is Hydra, back into their own jungle. But overall, the Herald is picked up by Monkholm.
And what they do with that will kind of determine where this game goes. Do they want to throw it top lane to secure that tower? Do they want to throw it mid lane and open the map? I like this dragon call here on the side of Chimaera, knowing that if they were to give another dragon over, you would really deprive your Kassadin of just consistent mana, or that just sustain. And so just being able to secure those objectives and just state your presence on the map. And I do like, if we look at after they've taken that dragon, the ward pressure will eventually shift over to their next objective, or at least still be very aggressive for the side of Chimaera. Hydra really can't claim back their jungle until they roam, and they haven't been able to do that because they've been stuck in lanes.
Exactly, and they just all back at the same time and lose that bot tower for free, so it is actually only top lane that still stands for the side of Hydra at this point. Oh, that's actually gone down. No, all
yeah, I'm
outers
pretty
are down.
sure it's not there.
Just knocked it over, just walks over and pushed it over like tower Lego bricks, and now the Herald is on the side of Monkholm, but they don't have any outer turrets to kind of get a push going from.
No, they don't, and this means that they need to start playing a little bit defensive warding. If you're smart about it in-game, you can understand probably where Chimaera wants to go, but you can never be sure, which is why you need to throw some defensive warding, clear out your jungle, which is something that we should see with a little bit more control wards on second blue, blockade, and Chang, making sure that you can control areas for those next objectives, which won't be up for another 5 minutes at least. And so if you're looking for fights, then the side of Chimaera will win those.
Yeah, they've got the aggressive move by Monkholm, but Postcassin's in a 1v4! Oh, no. The ultimate comes down, but a shutdown is all that will be taken away by Blocker. Nothing he could really do there, caught, smashed up against the wall.
I'm eating my words here. I was just like, yeah, Chimaera's going to win every fight, and then Postcassin gets caught out, and I'm like, well, never mind. Like, however, Hydra is doing what we at least called in the draft, and being able to play as a 5 team with the Kayle split push, or even just 4-1, because this is where they're strongest, because this is where their team would synergize. And so being able to do this, I think we'll see kind of a turn of the map, even though your Inter is in this bot lane, just pushing it out.
He's going to get some value back, but they did get the second charge on the Herald. That's going to be 2 turrets taken down in the mid lane. Suddenly, it's 3 towers to 3. Yaginto, he's only got half of the health down. Sebcraft's going to be able to push him away before he gets it, I imagine. And overall, you've got to be happy with that for Hydra.
You do, but what do they do? The big snowball through the mid lane.
Just easily walked away from, but overall shoves them back to their own tower at least, as 4 people have grouped up from Chimaera in the mid lane. We could see an actual full-scale teamfight developing as Chang is looking for that ball, but the aggression completely stymied out by Scatter the Weak. Xayah has to be used early. Prompo now is on top of Chang, and Boomaster gets knocked away by the Alice, but in comes Kai'Sa to try and finish it off. Boomaster's been taken down by Blocker. They're all grouped up in this Cataclysm. Pinata on the side trying to get something done, but so many members from Hydra still alive, and now Sebcraft. He comes in to support his team. Low health bars they may have, but they have still won this team fight.
You want to see a game turn on its head. You see that gold lead was 2,000 plus. Now we've kind of gate that back. It is 4-4. Baron's about to spawn. You've as long as you push out your wards from the side of Hydra and reclaim your jungle, then you can even out this game and hopefully push for those outer turrets, especially in that bot lane, or even push out waves, which is desperately needed, as your Inter did kind of push those waves for you. So overall, a great fight. Flashes were blown, things happened, and that's kind of what we're going to see more throughout the game as more players start getting those power spikes, especially Chang, trying to finish that Moro Melicon so that you can contest those Nunus and those Gangplanks. Being able to contest that healing. There's something that Hydra will have to decide, and that's, do they want to split 4-1 with Chang on Yerinter and die, or do they want to put Sebcraft, someone that would be really great in a team fight, to have to answer Yerinter in these side lanes? Whereas Chimaera can choose to run a 1-3-1, or they can run a 4-1 to answer whatever Mokom, Chang, Bloke, and Blue want to do. And so that is going to be what we style around as we kind of reset for the next objectives, which is Mountain Drake.
Overall, it seems like they have a little bit of a disconnect between what they want to do, with Yginter in this bot lane a lot split pushing, Pinata trying to scale up too, but they're also the ones post-cast and is going aggressive with these E's. Leona, he's trying to start fights.
He's trying to start fights.
So,
yeah.
I mean, I guess they just need to get on the same page. Do we just calmly shove a wave and just 1-3-1 them to death, or do we go all in with our Yginter combo with the damage and the Gangplank ultimate?
And right now, I think they're doing a good job. Because Pinata's teleport is up, Pinata can split without anything. And so being able to fight for this objective or push out that mid lane is something that, oh my god,
Prompo.
the damage coming out from Sebcraft just finding Prompo.
Exalted red buff Kale, you cannot escape this Angel, and that's going to be an easy mountain secured. Now, the side of Chimaera, they've just given up on this deal. They've gone mid to try and get some damage. They're hard committing to it as the TPs come out. They want to finish it off. Chang shoves them away. Sebcraft, another missed ultimate by Postcast, and no punish to be had there overall. They did get tower and top lane at the very least, but Mountain's been taken, and Hydra, they're going in. Montcalm's caught Boomaster, and now a lovely stopwatch keeps himself alive. They cannot escape. Boomaster's got the ultimate, but it's gone the wrong way. Gangplank ultimate comes down, but to no avail. Sebcraft on a killing spree now, chasing down the rest. The Exalted Kale laying down that damage. Will not be able to chase any further, but they go straight onto the Baron.
And that's just because they have so much damage. Sebcraft, level 13, cannot be contested by any other damage source in the game right now. And so being able to burn this Baron down, especially with the recently grabbed Mountain Drake, as Yerinter tries to grab into the Baron pit and has to ult out. Hopefully they can get away, but if they can, this is such a great turnaround for SRG Hydra.
The flash was used by Yginter, and Leona came into this jungle. Looks like they might try and shove them, at least force a recall, but no, they don't feel confident doing it. The Baron is secured. It's only 6 kills to 4. We haven't seen that many actual deaths in this game, but the gold lead now has swung into Hydra's favor.
And if you are on the side of Chimaera now, you do have to push out waves. The one way to waste a Baron buff is by using it to push out all 3 waves at once, instead of obviously running it down mid and hoping that your side waves can push. If the side of Chimaera had gotten this Baron, then maybe we'd be looking at something different. A 1-3-1 with a Baron is pretty incredible and hard to beat, but a 4-1 with a Baron, if you play it right, can be super effective. What worries me is what they're about to do, which is potentially running it down mid with Baron buff, not being able to push those side lanes out that are pushing into their base.
We're going full NA ram on Hydra's side. Yginter's cutting the wave behind them, so they don't have too much time under this turret. Pinata's barrels are clearing that wave out a little bit. Sebcraft getting chunked very low by tower shots. Needs to retreat now with the health bar low as it is. Yginter's on that side. Ward's cleared away. They're sticking together, tightly knit. They don't want to get caught out and picked apart here. They're keeping the Baron buff alive, but as you said, really it's kind of a wasted push there.
And they're still going for it, which just astounds me. Is like, you do have top lane a little bit pushing, but your Inter's just going to cause disruption, because that is what you do as casted in this spot of the game.
Ooh. Postcast, another ultimate doesn't land onto Sebcraft. A slow only, but engaged by second blue. Catches only Prompo. That's 2 engages fluff now from either side. Back to NA round we go. Onto this tower. Here comes that Gangplank ultimate. Turret's gone down. Yginter's on the side. Has been hit by a stun. Sebcraft forces him away. A flash has been used by Blocker early though.
Can he get out?
Very sketchy. Yeah. Looks like they're just gonna recoalesce into a group of 5 and maybe go for this inhibitor. It's kind of working. There's no Leona ultimate. Prompo has to go back to base, and the inhib, against all odds, is secured by Hydra.
And now they can push out these side waves. Now, I mean, we do have Baron buff up for the next minute and a half, if not 2. And so what we're looking at here is to be the ability to take inhib, move back, and push these sideways. If they can do that, I think they've sealed this deal, in part because Sebcraft, while looks like an actual champion, still hasn't reached permanent exalted phase, which, looking at Pinata's items, doesn't tell me that that Gangplank can be online fast enough, or even your Inter can't burst an entire team down yet. Only level 14, and if your team is playing as 5...
Oh, instant Cataclysm used by Montcom, and the Flag and Drag to cover on. Blocker comes in, they flash over, they really want this Kassadin. The stacks are up there for Kaiser, but can't proc them all. Yaginta's just gonna walk away, and that's a lot been committed just to catch the most mobile champion in the game.
Yeah, I mean, I understand the ult, maybe scare him off, but the flash into the Dragon Pit, now you've wasted 2 types of engage for a Jarvan, and while you do have Baron buff, and they're grouping up as 5, which is the best option they can do, I don't know if you're going to be able to stop a potential hard engage if postcasting can just land an ability.
Yeah, Montcom hasn't had time to heal up that HP as well. No Ocean Drake for them. They're going a lot of damage onto Pinata. Sterix gets popped in the hard engage. The ultimates all coming down one after another. The shutdown onto Kale. This could be what Chimaera needs, and now they're the ones pushing them off the tower. Blocker has secured a kill for himself. Yaginta 1-2. And now, overall, it's Hydra.
Can't run away from a Kassadin.
Can't escape them ability. The Blocker walks him out. The Decathian rain just peppers him down, and a shutdown for Blocker. It's a 1 versus 3. No flash, no heal, no ultimate. Snowball will be as easy as that, and the shutdown finally goes over to Brewmaster. What a mess that was, Hat.
That was a big mess, and it started with, well, I firmly believe the Montcom flash, even though as Nexus Tower goes down, the Montcom flash and ult being down really hurt the side of Hydra in that fight. Chimaera being able to combo ultimates, Prompo taking away the damage by ulting as Bowmaster, being able to then capture Sebcraft and delete all of the damage on the side of Hydra here is really what won them that fight. And while they got the gold lead back, fun fact, it swayed back to the side of Chimaera here. Their map control is still very abysmal, and so they need to really push that up and really kind of reset, because while they do have a gold lead and they do have your Inter that can delete people, they're going to have to face another onslaught from Sebcraft here, and that other level 16 power spec that comes in from Chang, that comes in from Inter, and hopefully get some more gold on Bowmaster for that 3rd item.
Overall, it seems like the problem both teams are having is when they choose to engage and how they choose to do it. There's a lot of problems here. As Sebcraft is forced to flash out of that pit, secures the dragon in the exchange for a flash. It could be pretty damaging, though, considering we saw Sebcraft go down in that fight. We'll need to see if postcasting can get on point with these Leona ultimates to clear that one out. Maybe catch Sebcraft unawares. But overall, as I said, the engages, they seem to be pretty random, pretty kind of mishmashed, and overall you can't really tell who's going to win just by who starts.
But is it into
those engages I was talking about? The ult misses again, and now Blockers come right in. Boomaster's had to go straight into the locket. The ultimate kill Fires has come down. The Cataclysm as well. Everything in the kitchen sink's been dumped into this 1-foot radius. Sebcraft is trying to do the damage, but he's triple killed by Boomaster. That's going to be another one for Yaginta on the side, and now surely this is going to be the Baron, as you say, picked up by Chimaera.
And overall, I think that's just the cockiness from Montcom, saying, hey, I'm going to engage on who I think is caught out, which would be Postcast, and Postcast actually doing what I hope was a bait, but overall, it could have just been just their engage mechanic that they've had on all game just going on, and their team was right there to follow up on it. Amazing. Sebcraft couldn't do any damage there. Baron buff now on the side of Chimaera, and let's see if Hydra can defend as well as Chimaera did prior.
I'm pretty sure Postcastin was just going in, like legitimately going in. That seems to be that seems to be what Postcastin does when he sees an enemy champion on his monitor. He just kind of goes in and then had to sheepishly walk away. Montcom says no, and then the whole thing just explodes from there. And now they have Baron. So I guess, I mean, good call, I suppose.
I think that's what we call calculated.
That is what we call big brain right there. So, okay, as you say, they've got the Baron now. We saw what Hydra chose to do with it. They NA-rammed it, and it kind of worked out, but also they all died at one point. Do you think that we're going to go for another... yeah, we're going to go for another NA-ram for the side of Chimaera, or is it time to get Yaginta back on that split push roll?
Hey, they have to get into the split push, because if you split out a Kassadin to the side lanes, being as big and level 16 with that 3-item power spike that we did talk about, no one can answer them. And so you have to send 2 over there, so you could run a 1-3-1, putting 3 in the mid lane and putting your Gangplank out in the side lanes, but then your Gangplank could get caught out. So I think you run your Inter into the side lane with the Baron buff push and then just slow push it out, because right now they're all in the mid lane, and that does favor the side of Hydra, especially when you're funneling farm right into the Kale for this level 16.
It's like SRG in general, just not big fan of the split pushing strategy. I think the org just really doesn't like it. I mean, we'll have to get Waifu for Life online and ask why she's stopping all the coaches from letting them split push. It clearly seems to be a factor here.
It might be against the rules. We might have to check the
yeah,
rulebook.
Exactly. It might. It's too lame. You can't do it.
I think they're listening, because we are seeing your Inter and Pinata actually go into the side lanes, and this is going to be really difficult for Hydra. They're going to have to choose what lanes they want to prioritize.
Really, all I want to see now is postcasting to just not engage. Just don't press a button, don't press E, don't press R. Just let your side waves do their thing, and they can maybe actually get the value, as the towers have already started to fall.
And overall, when you play Leona, you are engaged. Yes, I don't want to take that away, but you're also a form of disengage and catching people out. And so being able to be that effectiveness as like we go into a siege, where if second blue or Monkholm comes in, just being able to stun them and then using your micro stun on your E and your solar flare to be able to catch them while they're on top of you would be the best use of Leona for postcasting.
Exactly. I think Boomester has been so hard done by in these team fights. He's always just getting forced into stopwatch, into ultimate straight away, flashing every time. So far recently, he has been living, and he's been doing a huge amount of work, getting triple kills and the like. But I think if the peel is used by postcasting, as you say, we could actually let this Xayah have a little bit more breathing room in these fights to do the damage, as the mid turret has now fallen as well. Here comes that stun from Chang, having to flash away. Feather's coming down. Zero has been used very early, just as his own mechanism. The postcasting ult comes down aggressively again, but at least it stops the fight and they do walk away. Oh, I say that. The flash of Chang has to walk up very aggressively. Monkholm, he's fiending for it. He's looking for it. Flag and Drag not going to come out. Cataclysm still available. Boomester, he's so low.
They are, but your Inter's still pushing this bot lane. Being able to be answered by Chang is probably the worst possible thing when you have 3 items on Cassidy and you can't one solo kill a Syndra.
Here comes the engage onto Prompo. Boomester has no lifesteal, no stopwatch, has to run away. They're drawing 4 members into their blocker. He's ulted in. The deadly killer instinct does finish off that jungle. W not going to land, but they have at least found 1 kill. Those side lanes are still crashing in time and time again. Yaginta's going to secure 1. Pinata's getting collapsed 4 versus 1.
But are they going to be punished for their sins?
He is going to go for this inhib. He's going for the hard committal. The flash in from Monkholm doesn't land. Pinata cataclysmed under tower. He's lost a long time.
Get to the fountain.
The Starrett comes in and he gets 5-man bully circled. Surely this is too mean for television. And now the Mountain Drake is secured on the side of Chimaera as well. Overall, they get all of the inhib towers and the dragon. They only lose 2.
And they only lose 2. They grab another Mountain Drake, which will be helpful for this Baron spawning in a minute and a half. However, they weren't able to ward effectively when they left, which means this is an easy clear coming in from second blue. We are seeing the control wards coming in from Monkholm Chang and for second blue, which tells me that... Oh, you're not going to chase that. You're not going to chase that.
I don't know, dude. I don't trust them not to chase anything at this stage.
Well, they are looking for fights and little advantages, so I can pride them on that, but their base is wide open. And there are 2 TPs all the way up for your Inter and Pinata, so just being able to TP down to that bot lane that's pushing after they get a favorable fight is something that I think Chimaera is going to look for here.
They have a couple of pink wards now. Monkholm's gone straight into the jungle. A nice stun onto Prompo. There's no flash available. He has been knocked back into the team. Surely Sebcraft's just going to shred him through here with blocker in hand. Did he leave?
Oh my goodness.
And he gets away! Kale's been shut down by the Caston. Postcaston finally nails that solar flare.
They need to TP. They need to end the game.
Just when we thought it was over, they actually jump right back in. Here comes TP number 1. That is Pinata going in. Yaginta's chasing down blocker. The healers come out to keep him alive, but surely there's nothing you can do against the Castle Win, who is online. They are running it down these lanes. They've got the inhibs open. The next towers are up, though. The death time is about 40 seconds. I imagine they'll be able to get this in through the bot lane. So overall, I think what we learned is that we have no idea who's going to win fights ever.
Ever. And while I do like the engage potential from postcasting, I didn't really see the counterpart from second blue be able to answer anything that postcasting did. Maybe just not used to that Alistar play. Overall, we saw a good game today. We saw Lees get exchanged from one hand to the other. We saw a lot of engaging fights, and we did see finally Kale at level 16 and a Gangplank come online and be able to use those ults effectively. And so I think for next game, game 2, match point, we are going to see a Kassadin ban, and we are going to see your Inter kind of be focused and funnel SRG Chimaera into a 4-1 or a full 5 comp. Because if you can do that in draft phase, it might throw them off.
Something that really just flashed up in my memory, something that you said in the pregame, was that Nunu, sometimes you can just carry a game by being so tanky. And if you look at what happened there, Prompo got knocked into 4 members, including level 16 Kale and Kaiser, and was able to walk away while the rest of his team comes in and Kassadin comes for the flank and they get the stuns off. That is just insane how long he lived there without even having a Gargoyle Stone Plate. That
And
is
it's just,
crazy.
I'm just saying, it is Aftershock, but more importantly, when you use all your CC on somebody, and like this is a 4-item Kale. I don't want everyone to be like, oh, that's just Kale. No, this is 4 items, and not being able to take down Prompo on Nunu. Overall, I think, and to think, like I'm just thinking back on that fight. So, Boomaster and Postcassin weren't anywhere near Prompo when he got caught out, and then were able to collapse on that fight. I think Postcassin was pushed out a little bit, but we get the Pinata ult in, and then suddenly damage. And if you are Hydra here, you just are not able to get out of that because you can't fight in corridors. That is exactly where Prompo wants to fight. That's where your Inter wants to fight. That's where Bowmaster and Postcassin want to fight. And especially for Postcassin, because you're able to hit those Solar Flare Leona ultimates, which are up every 40 seconds. And so overall, good execution at the end. But if I'm grading sloppy gameplay, I have to give it A+ to both teams because it could have went either way. And hopefully they start shoring up those little bugs of fighting they want on this spooky holiday. Just being able to kind of repress that, be a little more patient, and really push your advantages when you get them, because that's what, pun intended, snowballing is all about.
All I'll say is this: I think that my dream of a 3-game series is still very alive and well, as we are going to go into a short break after game 1 of this series. Hydra and Chimaera will be back very soon to get into game 2. Do not go anywhere, guys.
around again. We want a dose of this right now. It's KD. I'm a goddess with a blaze. 소리처럼 내 이름 잊지 못하게 loud, 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 loud. I could take you to the top. 절대 멈추지 못해. 내가 끝내주는 bag, yeah, yeah, yeah. And when I started talk that, oh, you know how to react. I'm a picture perfect face with that wild in my veins. You can hear it in my growl, 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 growl. So keep your eyes on me now. 무엇을 보든 좋아할 거야. 다 할 수 없는 배분. 나와 되길 원한 널 확신해. We got it all in our hands now. So can you handle what we're all about? We're so tough. Let's get it, show you out. Can you feel the rush now? Ain't nobody bringing us down, 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 down. They could try, but we gonna wear the crown. You could go another round, 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 round. Wish you luck, but you're not bringing us down. We go hard, till we get it, we go hard. We so in it, we pop stars. Only winning, winning now. Ain't nobody bringing us down, 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 down. You ready for this?
Let's go.
See, 언제든지 내 모습 매직 단 한 번에 내가 잡아 절대 기죽지 않지. 펴펴 네가 뭘 알아. 견딜 수 없어 원해도 원하는 게 얼굴에 보여. I'm troubling you running it. I'm so cold. When I move that way, you gon' be so blown. I'm the realest in the game. Said I'm on fire with the blade. You're about to hear my name ringing in your head like whoa. So keep your eyes on me now. 무엇을 보든 좋아할 거야. We so tough. Let's get it, show you out. Can you feel the rush now? Ain't nobody bringing us down, 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 down. They could try, but we gonna wear the crown. You could go another round, 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 round. Wish you luck, but you're not bringing us down. We go hard, till we get it, we go hard. We so in it, we pop stars. Only winning, winning now. Ain't nobody bringing us down, 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 down. 난 멈추지 않아. Oh, we go hard. Oh, we pop stars. Ain't nobody bringing us down, 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 down. They could try, but we gonna wear the crown. You could go another round, 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 round. Wish you luck, but you're not bringing us down. We go hard, till we get it, we go hard. We so in it, we pop stars. Only winning, winning now. Ain't nobody bringing us down, 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 down.
Welcome to the world, no heroes and villains. Welcome to the war, we've only begun. So pick up your weapon and face it. There's blood on the ground, go and take it. You get one shot to make it out alive. So higher and higher you're chasing. It's deep in your bones, go and take it. This is your moment. Now is your time, so prove yourself and rise, rise. Make them remember you.
Welcome back, everybody, to Game 2 of this series between SRG, Chimaera, and Hydra. We are diving straight into this champ select, leaving no time to get a thought in here. So let's look back at Game 1. We saw massive Cassidins and Kales. We saw comebacks. We saw gold leads being lost and gained. Hat, what do you make of it?
Well, we saw calamity and courageousness and other words, but we
Exactly,
also
big words.
other larger words. There's some alliteration there. Seeing the Zed ban again and seeing the Vlad ban again tell me that Hydra know that if they can just ban out any year inter champion, they might have a chance. And if you're the side of Chimaera, you know the only thing that can beat you is a Vladimir. And that is true because you need that sustain to then be able to scale. And so seeing that Nautilus ban out, I think we're going to see a very similar bot lane pick here, except potentially Bowmaster and Postgasson could play Glacial bot lanes. But we are going to see the Xayah. We might just see equal reflection. If it worked well the first time for Chimaera, who says it's not going to work the same for the second time? But Malcolm was still able to grab that Leona for his teammate Second Blue. And then we are going to see a standard Kai'Sa Leona lane.
Yeah, we'll see if Second Blue has a chance to offer his own take on the Leona performance. We saw post-Casson's if you see an enemy champ go in style, which, I mean, they won, but that's about all I will say on that one, honestly. So Xayah has been picked up by Boomaster again. It was pretty important in keeping him alive as he was getting so heavily put upon in those late-game fights, and it has been paired with the Rakan. So a little bit more of a standard combination there. Post-Casson can still go in all the time if he wants to, but now he can just press E to escape.
But riddle me this: why pick into your counter, CJ?
I mean,
that's a big brain move. Postcasson thinks, yo, I know how Leona works. I've played Leona. I can counter it with a counter.
I will definitely.
We are seeing Sebcraft pick up the Gangplank though, and I find that interesting. Do you think Pinata will bring it back with the Kale?
Honestly, I'm not sure if it would be a great idea. I think that we saw that Sebcraft did a pretty good job of pushing around in the lane, but overall, the Kale just looked so... In the last couple of fights, you couldn't even kill a Nunu with all of your team around at level 16.
4 items.
4-item Kale, and it's banned anyway, so I mean, doesn't even get a chance. But at this point, if the Kale is off the table, does Pinata go for an early game champion or a carry maybe?
I think you have to go into something that can get that early gank off from Prompo in that top lane onto Sebcraft here. And so just being able to get those 2 early kills on a Gangplank can put you massively ahead on any bruiser that you would want to pick here. The Skarner and a special coming in from Muckholm to kind of work around, not counter, not fight Prompo, but to work around the Jarvan in the jungle and hopefully drag the flag and drag all the way to their team.
Exactly. We saw Prompo spread his wings a little bit and play that Nunu to more or less great effect last game, but now has gone back to the tried and true J4, which lining up alongside a Xayah Rakan does start the foundations of another classic team fighting comp. This is matched as well by the Aurelia that's come through, picked by Boomester, going on to Yeginter or Pinata. Now, this could go, another possible flex pick being hovered there with the Rise, so now, pretty much mid and top, they can just set it up however they want.
Especially on the side of Chimaera, I definitely think Sebcraft, and we're going to see a mid lane pick here from SRG Chang, but what would they want to go into either a Rise or an Aurelia? Something's telling me if they want to keep this Syndra pick, they're going to have to play a little smarter because they don't have that extra power coming at that level 6 or Kale, and you do have to wait for Muckholm to actually get online and get those abilities for Skarner. Skarner is one of those level 6 champions depending on what runes you build, and so if you want to build Predator and farm to level 6, you are going to give Prompo free reign of ganks, but as we know of Prompo in the past for Chimaera, he doesn't gank at level 3, and so hopefully we can see a little bit of that to put Sebcraft behind and maybe close out the series for Chimaera.
Exactly. They did manage to snatch victory there in that first game, so they have a little bit of leeway here. If they go down, they will have another chance to bring it back. Hydra playing for their series live, so they've opted to go back to a lot of the same wells. They've got the Syndra in the mid lane and that Kai'Sa as well. Now they've got the Gangplank for themselves and the Leona. They've snatched it away from Chimaera, paired it up with the Skarner. So now, if you look at the way that you mentioned that Chang needs to play a little maybe smarter in the mid lane, he was going very, very aggressive overall last game, going for as many trades as possible. Montcalm gave him that blue buff so that he could trade really aggressively. I think that this is the right choice to go ahead. Can he still play aggressive while being smart, I guess, is what I'm asking.
He can. He just has to choose when or where, or even aggressively ward for Prompo, right? You're playing against a Rise in your Inter. Inter is usually not a Rise player, but I won't hold it past them. The issue here is if you get baited into a false sense of security, understand that Muckholm isn't a counter ganker. There is no Skarner player out there that will counter gank effectively besides just disrupting one gank, and be able to turn that fight around. And so it's really on Chang's abilities to push Urinter out of lane so much where Prompo has to come mid, but Chang will have vision around it. And this is when you play mid, just having that extra awareness onto where Prompo will then path and being able to put wards around that area so that you can see when you have to play safe. By all means, play aggressive, CJ, but please do it in a smart manner so that your Urinter doesn't get an item at 15 minutes and then Rise becomes online. And so seeing the summoner spells, we are seeing pretty much a global map presence as we saw last game, which is really going to help both teams. But I think more often than last game, we should be able, or at least we have the opportunity to see early game action more than what we saw at 25 minutes last game when it was 5 kills to 6 kills.
Exactly. Let's hope our hardest to try and get some more early action in here. When you have champions like Aurelia going into this gangplank specifically, we said that we wanted to maybe see Pinata go on something. He could perhaps punish Sebcraft on this gangplank. Do you think Aurelia is going to be able to do that?
I think if done appropriately, so getting a kill onto Pinata, just being able to have that little bit of extra gold to get that Tiamat and start wave clearing. That's really what you do when you take Aurelia top. Is you want to be sure that you have a sufficient enough wave clear to push them under tower and then start a tower dive with your jungler. If not, just siphoning the farm away from them. But the one thing about Gangplank and what Sebcraft probably knows is that when you're under tower, it's okay because you need to get to level 6 and then you can still make impacts across the map. You're not ever really suffocating Gangplank out of anything, but you are making sure that they don't have an impact anywhere else, or at least distracting them long enough where they won't be able to use their ult, or they'll have to use their ult in lane perhaps, which is probably the worst place you can throw an ult as Gangplank, in your own lane. So hopefully we can see some of that coming out of Chimaera if they do want to close the series. If you are Sebcraft, as we finish our spectator delay, you're definitely going to want to go even, win game. And so if they can do that, I think they'll be in a really good spot with those power spikes that Gangplank does have.
I think you're absolutely on the money with Gangplank there. I'm remembering the ultimate that was used by Pinata in game 1 that cleared out the bot wave after they committed 2 TPs and allowed them to get both other waves pushing in. Plays like that really keep you in the game and can stop any attempts your opponents make to get them ahead. So if we can see Sebcraft have a similar impact across this game and then scale up, as you say, we might be able to see this one going late, just like game 1. Game 1, I believe, went to just under 34 minutes, so honestly, it felt like a little longer. There was just so much going on at all times. So we are getting onto the Rift very shortly. If we line up the teams side by side, we talked about the scaling that Sebcraft has and maybe just kind of go even win game. Ginter on this Rise is going to be scaling up very well too. Who do you think actually, when we get to this 45-minute mark, if you put them all 5 players mid lane, we have ourselves an NA Ram, who's going to come out on top there?
Well, as I sit as a lovely pause so we can get production in here, I will tell you that if your Inter does get this item lead, they should be able to at least push out and then start an effective 1-3-1 or 4-1, which we had talked about. Just being able to have that opportunity to split, which will then get them ahead. And so ideally, you win this lane early if you're Chang, and you win this lane early if you have good Mokholm-Chang synergy, which is what I'm going to look for, at least starting on this early game pre-10.
We need to see if that plays out correctly as we go in. Just taking a quick look at the summoner spells we've got lined up here. It is a Conqueror for both sides of this top lane, top and jungle, so they're going to be very efficient at that 2v2 potentially. We could see Montcalm obviously with the standard Predator, Syndra once again with the Electrocute, and we've got the Lethal Tempo versus Press the Attack. So maybe a little bit more value in the early game trades for blocker using Press the Attack, and if they choose to go aggressive, might see that actually get a little bit more value there.
Exactly. As we kind of get in, I hope to not see, there's one thing I hope to not see, and that's just any skirmishes that happen at all right away. Because if you do take a Leona into any other CC, which Rakan does, you're just going to have a bad time if you are postcasting here. We did see postcasting get really aggressive, and that's something that you brought up earlier, CJ, is that if they stay that aggression course, it might turn out poor for them, especially because Kai'Sa, once you get those stacks, because you are building press the attack, you are able to lay out so much damage to a squishy member such as Rakan.
Yeah, the instant burst that can come through from the Kai'Sa, lining up those Kai'Sa passive stacks with that press the attack can be absolutely deadly. We did see Blocker go in very aggressively in fights, jumping in at the first sign of CC in the late team fights in game 1. Normally to great effect, wasn't using it in a bad time, it was always securing a kill. I was very impressed with Blocker's play on this Kai'Sa, so I'm glad he's got his hands on it again, expecting big things now that they have an even easier engaged setup with this Leona. Overall, level 1, it's going to be very chilled out. They managed to spot Ryze coming into that brush, so nothing untoward going down. And looks like we aren't going to get the same bot side wards, potentially, that Chimaera placed to keep track of the Jarvan, so might be a little bit less vision, a little bit less of an idea where Prompo is going level 1.
Exactly, and we'll see the pings, especially from the side of Hydra here, to just kind of tell Malcolm on this Skarner, hey, Prompo has started red. So hopefully we'll see the very same thing from Pinata, but overall I'm not seeing that, so they still could be just a little unsure. Sneakery is afoot, a trick or a treat may happen for one of these junglers early on, but we are seeing Prompo clear at that red side, and the same thing for Malcolm. They are playing it relatively safe, trying to get to the level 3s, as you see Chang just poking out your Inter in this mid lane.
Oh yeah, this is true to form with Chang. He did have some great stuns in game 1, it must be said. I remember the double stun he got in mid lane that caught both Xayah and Leona there. It was, I'm pretty sure he then died soon afterwards, but that stun was real good. And I don't want to avoid giving credit. Another one lands in mid lane. Chang's got your Inter down below half, well below, very early on.
And I don't want to take this away from Hydra. They still had a pretty good early game. There were some botched DPs, weren't able to really solidify good gold leads. But when they had a lead, they at least had the intention and the readiness to then go and exploit that lead. I think they just got too big for their britches here, as we see Prompo going on Chang, just getting those extra Conqueror stacks in there. But Chang on the Electrocute does a lot of damage for the Syndra here.
Yeah, there is a ward in that bottom side of mid jungle there that I'm not sure spotted him because of how it's placed around the terrain. I don't think it actually saw Jarvan come in. Luckily, Chang was positioned in such a way that he couldn't get too much done. Prompo at least gets a trade-off, but as you say, gets equal in kind, gets shoved right back down to below half, and Chang used up all that mana bar, shoved it in. Imagine we're going to see a TP back.
Yeah, we'll see a TP, but more importantly, Ryze even early doesn't really have that effective clear, so you don't have to. Although the recall was stopped, I think this mid lane, while being powerful, is still going to be very generic, as we see Pinata just dueling Sebcraft in this top lane.
Very, very low. The flash is the first blood to Pinata, and there's the Triumph keeping him topped up. Now Pinata says, not this time, Sebcraft, and he gets the lane in his favor.
And being able to stack your fervor stacks on Aurelia here, as the TP comes back in from Sebcraft.
Very nasty tower shot coming from Pinata there. He's going to have to walk away. Luckily, no actual punish there. He's going to TP back, but a little dangerous, a little worrisome.
A little bit. But getting your stacks of fervor and also having corrupting pots for that burn damage means you really don't need ignite, and you...
Oh no, Montcom in the 1v2. Chang now has Yaginta caught out. The flash is still available, and Prompo's coming over the wall. Here's a knockup and a TP committed by Pinata. The level 4 Aurelia coming through on that triple sword buy is going to come in just to push them away. Flash used by Skarner, TP by Chang as well, but no deaths.
I think just being able to recognize that play earlier, Pinata might have been able to pick up another 2 kills, but because the teleport was a little late on the play, because I don't think that Prompo and Yinter knew they could turn that around as effectively as they did. As Prompo hits the top lane on Sebcraft, the blown flash was
going. Easy knockup for Sebcraft. The orange has been used. The barrels speed up, but he can't get away from this one. Pinata picks up a second kill.
I think Chimaera is playing with their food here in this top lane. Knowing that flash is blown and teleports are also blown, you're being able to farm up this lane and...
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Being able to then really push out for that Tiamat and then keep your wave clear going. If you're Gangplank and you've died 2 times before 5 minutes, you're going to have a bad time. And so I think that's what we're seeing. Hopefully Sebcraft can take it back, because if they can't, this could be the series for them.
Yeah, last time I believe it was Pinata, who got himself 1 kill during the lane phase, I think. I'm not sure if he actually solo killed Sebcraft, but he got himself a kill at one point. So Sebcraft having a much worse time of it, admittedly against a slightly less well-scaling champion, though Pinata's going to be absolutely fiendish in this mid game. As to throw back to what we saw mid lane there, Yuginter, as soon as the Q is used by Chang, he just walks right up and starts trading.
Exactly. I'm excited to kind of see how this goes because we are seeing Chang with the double Dorans again. Really, they bypassed their only power spike, which is the Lost Chapter, in favor of just more sustain in lane because they know they're going up against a scaling champion. But you really want to have that burst and that extra mana in lane if you are unsure that you're going to grab a blue. And so maybe they know they'll get a blue, the second blue that's going to come up. But because they don't have priority in this bot lane so far, it might be harder, especially as post-casting comes up to ward, knowing that that is what they want to do in this mid lane.
Overall, bot lane's been a pretty quiet affair. A nice big wave picks up. Pinata's committed the ultimate. The ult's online for Sebcraft as well. A stun has lasted. The Conquerors come down. Just Q after Q. Easy killing speed for Pinata. Montcalm looking to sweep this one up, get something back for his team. Slow Smite comes down, pushes him into that brush. You've got to imagine he's got to get away with this one, but actually the Q's the minions. There's no flash available for Montcalm. The ult comes online too late. The stun stops him in his tracks, and Pinata outplays the 2v1.
Just styling on them. Pinata in this top lane. What I said earlier is your Inter gets electrocuted in this mid lane. As I said earlier, Pinata being able to make Sebcraft blow their own ult in lane and still dying. That's the third solo kill coming up from this lane as Montcalm tries to take it back. Having ult on the Skarner and Predator, totally giving up the Mountain Drake, not being able to contest the spot side is going to set Chimaera even more ahead, especially for this objectives. The gold lead doesn't really reflect how well Pinata's doing, but overall, it's just the impact across the map that you are able to see from Chimaera here.
Yeah, the mid-jungle duo from Hydra is propping up that gold lead. Both of them with pretty decent gold leads here, considering Chang has just recalled. It's going to be evened up by Yuginter probably in the mid lane, but you said that Montcalm, he has gone for that farm to 6 style, so he is a little bit ahead in CS, but once he's got that ultimate, didn't quite have it in time and hasn't been able to make anything happen, whereas Prompo, he's got that dragon secured, he's been pressuring the mid lane as well, he's done a lot on this early game, which is kind of reminiscent of what we saw last time.
Exactly, and a big part of this too is just making sure that if you are on the side of Hydra, knowing where your power spikes are and knowing where you're weak, right? So Sebcraft, you are 2 levels behind. It's not because of farm, it's just because you haven't been in lane. And what you're doing is now you're forced to sit on tower and hoping Montcalm can help you, which releases pressure off the entire map. And that's really what it is when you get, that top lane difference in your games. You relieve so much pressure off the map because you can't do anything as Sebcraft. You can't even build Trinity Force as quick as normal. Normally you want to see that at around 15 minutes. He probably won't even get there today, which is just a big feels bad, man, because that leaves your Inter more pressure in this mid lane to just get items, scale up.
Ooh, the flash flag and drag from Prompo into the ultimate committed by Pinata. It's under tower though.
Can he get out though?
He's getting very low. He doesn't.
Hey.
But that's a shutdown over to the GP. He's got to be pretty happy with that then.
I'd have to say worth if he wasn't down 7,000 gold.
Yeah.
But we are getting tower platings onto Prompo. We are seeing Montcalm knowing that Prompo is up top, being able to clear a little bit of the red side jungle with the aid of second blue. And so...
mid lane though. There's a 2-man gank squad coming in. Yuginter's going aggressive. Predator has come down. Here comes the Unleashed Power. Gets him very low. The flash has been committed. And a fatal flash from Montcalm. But a flash, this one lands from second blue. Isn't going to escape the double.
This Division 1 Could I get an F in the chat? Can we get an F in the chat for that flash?
Yep. F, unfortunately, for Montcalm's flash, but luckily second blue, he landed that Leona ability, so he's already having a decent impact on this game.
He landed more solar flares than Postcasting did all first 15 minutes.
This is a good performance here from second blue. Unfortunately, Blocker's gonna lose a little plating in that bot lane as well. He's now come back to support him. Second blue returns without flash. Does have the the ultimate ready. So I think he just flash E'd. So we haven't even seen him throw a Solar Flare yet.
Oh, well, never
To be
mind.
fair,
Well,
he
you're
hasn't
right.
missed any, to be
He
fair.
hasn't missed any.
So,
He's 100%.
so that's good. But
I agree. No, the big part of this is, can you keep your advantages? And so if you are Prompo, if I'm your Inter, I did die on that last play, but I was able to blow 3 flashes.
oh, Montcalm's waiting in the wings, forces the early flash from Pinata. It was a very aggressive play, but does get just chased back to tower.
And this is kind of what we were talking about earlier. Montcalm having to relieve pressure on top so that we can get a little bit of farm into this tremendous gold lead that Pinata has over Sebcraft here. Herald has spawned, and so that's going to be the next big objective as the Infernal spawns in a minute. And so being able to get prio around one of these is going to set the team ahead for either plates tempo, which is something that Chimaera really needs, or just a little bit more damage tempo, which Sebcraft and Chang would really enjoy.
Overall, we are seeing Chimaera. Oh, the stun lands and a tower shot for good measure. Chang with a nice early execution proc and the unleashed power. That's such an easy gank. Well played by Chang.
And if I'm Pinata, I got ahead, but I wasn't able to complete an item.
The ults come down early. The stun is ready, but there's no backup from Blocker. Yeah, in comes that Killer Instinct now. The Kai'Sa ultimate comes through as well, but the Rakan has just locked them both up, and now it's a turnaround. The Kai'Sa goes down. Xayah Rakan, the combo is just not able to be beaten in that 2v2. Second blue goes down 2 for Brewmaster. That's a 1 kill and assist for each of the bot laners, as mid lane, there was a big scrap, but no kills exchanged.
And so in this bot lane, especially what we were talking about earlier in drafts, is like, why would you intentionally pick into your counter? Nice catch out by your Inter here.
Gets chunked down to 1 HP by Ginter. Sebcraft is still in the area, doesn't chain the barrels, possibly intentionally, let's say. And I mean,
They
now
pick up
this
a dragon here.
Inferno Drake's going to be picked up by Prompo inside of Chimaera, so another objective goes in their favor. That's 2 very nice dragons to pick up.
Yes, very nice dragons. Rip to quick shots dragons, but the dragons will die this game. Being able to, as a Leona, understand your cooldowns, because that's what Post-Cassin did to counter that play. Second blue went in, very much resembling Post-Cassin on a Leona, but didn't really have any follow-up from Blockade, and more importantly, used all of the CC abilities at their disposal, which meant Post-Cassin could use the quickness and really capitalize on that bot lane play, securing 2 kills for the Lovers duo in that bot lane. Getting this large wave, Pinata is pushing up, which does set up really nicely for Herald. If I am on the side of Hydra, I don't really know where my main objective is, because everything is being controlled by Chimaera here. And so do I lane swap, as they are doing, putting Sebcraft in the mid lane? Or do I try to situate around a lane and try to camp it, which is something that I believe Montcalm might do.
The stun's been used. Pinata's gone straight in, forcing the flash. The ultimate too. Now the resets are to come through. Blade rushes after blade rushes. Pinata's just chunking him down, and instant kill. Unleashed power can do nothing to stop this one, and Montcalm has to sneak away. The stun used to clear the wave in lane hat instantly dies.
I can't. Ooh.
Woo.
So I hate going against Aurelias that are super fed.
Yeah.
But if you look at the gold total on Pinata, you've gathered 6,300 gold in 15 minutes. You have enough to get almost your Triforce, and you already have boots. And so with lanes pushed everywhere, having to force Chang to go top, and then basically just fed a kill onto Pinata. If I'm a set of Hydra, I need to turn this around fast, and a good way to do that is just by catching them out, which is going to be incredibly difficult, because Chimaera is just going to want to extend laning phase as long as possible, and not try to push this into mid.
Another committal onto Sebcraft in the top lane with Prompo in the back to back them up. In comes the Cataclysm. A flash has been used by Sebcraft, but the first turret goes down in bot lane. Ultimate's been used by Xayah. A nice knock up the Grand Entrance, catches them out, and Post-Cassin's now charging in with the quickness. A flash through from Xayah to follow up, and Blocker has to retreat with the Killer Instinct. Montcalm, nothing to do in the mid lane. Bot lane is just falling apart for the side of Chimaera, or Hydra, I should say. Montcalm now pushes them away from the Herald.
Bot lane?
Trying
Just
to support.
bot lane? I mean, top lane has fallen, been left out to dry. Any type of euphemism you can think of, because they can't even find a play across this map. They aren't keeping track of objective timers. They aren't warding actively.
Oh,
Chang is getting
huge damage.
bursted by Yinter. They're going to
Jeez.
take Herald, and they're going to push down either top or mid lane here. Bowmaster's coming into the mid, doing a great rotation here, understanding that they need to cap this objective, and they can use it to their utmost ability. I haven't seen Monkholm really play a part in today as much as I've seen Prompo been able to establish that pressure across the map that isn't really seen from a Skarner at all, unless you're going against a late game jungler. And so, based on this play, it's really making me question this pick from Monkholm.
Feels like Monkholm has dedicated his entire life's work to trying to help this top lane and has just been pushed away time and time again. While the bot lane are losing 2v2s, Chang is just getting chunked down to half by daring to walk next to a river brush. It seems like maybe the time could be better spent assisting the other lanes at this stage.
And at this stage, when mid-game has really just happened, when you do put Bowmaster and Postcassin in this mid lane, just try to shove it out and get that extra vision around those objectives, you really can't now focus the lane. Now you have to hope that, basically, in a spot you don't want to be, you want to hope that Chimaera makes a mistake. And currently, they're not making too many to shake a stick at. The only ones they did was Urinter, but he blew through flashes there. Pinata's been able to take kills as Monkholm goes in.
Rompo's in with that Cataclysm. It's a 4-man stack, 5-man stack in the middle, but a massive Aurelion catches everybody. The sun's coming down, but Pinata's actually been caught up in the 4v1 and killed. Boommaster Blade calls back and secures the kill on Chang at least, but Yaginta's now in from the side. Come up from bot lane, the quickness is in, catches up Give Me Second Blue, and he's going to fall to the rise as well. Overall, it's a 2v2.
And the worst thing that did happen could have happened if you are on the side of Chimaera, and that's giving your shutdown gold onto Block A on this Kai'Sa. Just being able to have 1,000 in pocket is just beneficial, even though they are going to get their mid tower pushed in. Sepcraft not being able to really fully defend here, especially against your Inter, which was able to finish their Manamune. The defense is going really well, but they are having to blow summoner spells because they need to get prio on this dragon.
I can see that in Yaginta's inventory, he's picked up that Quicksilver Sash already. We don't see one for Boommaster yet or for Pinata. Do you think it's worth at this point them investing early on to get away from that CC chain, or do you think they should just keep getting these damage items? Because now we have this dragon fight accelerating before us here. Pinata walks away, no Leona E to land. It's an easy Infernal pickup on the backside of that fight, so some value gained. Or the side of Hydra. Monkholm trying to escape, but a flash forward. He is knocked out. They cannot hit him with the Grand Entrance. He actually gets into the Blast Cone and escapes.
Oh, the ulti.
They've split in two. Monkholm now has to get back to this tower. The great escape continues. Zebcraft's just farming away. And I imagine they will leave the Skarner to try and escape. No one's actually chasing him. He started the recall. Rakan is checking his rush. Can he get away? He's not warded. He's not checked, but Monkholm has cancelled it. He's to escape. No Grand Entrance lance, and now Jarvan's following up. Yaginta's following up. They are going to finally catch him in the jungle. Ryze secures that kill, and they chase him down.
Well, a great, daring, almost escape coming in from Monkholm here. What it did, actually, was kind of relieve pressure on the map, which is good if you're on the side of Hydra here. Just being able to push out lanes. As much as you can, they will push back in because of the state of the map. But if you're on the side of Hydra, this gold lead is about 5,000, and you need to get some turrets. And the only way you can do that is with picks, which is to answer your question that you asked 2 minutes ago, CJ, about the
bringing it back.
A Quicksilver Sash. Yes, that is why they need it, because the only way Hydra gets back in the game is with those picks. And so being able to not be picked by, what's the Skarner's ability called? By Impale?
Yeah.
Then you're able to then set your team up for a re-engage, which is exactly what Postcassin has been doing all game.
If he can make this happen, Monkholm's had so much trouble landing the good impales and getting good picks off. We've seen Give Me Second Blue miss his own fair share of solar flares now. Chang has been great at landing Scatter the Weak stuns so far over both games, but at this point it's just not safe for him to walk up this far, and Pinata can threaten so much. Plus, Prompo is having no trouble engaging. Yaginta is just walking up, flashing in to get roots, as we've seen as well. It's just so risky for their engagers to even dare trying to make something happen. As Pinata commits another ult in the top lane. Sepcraft, a stun follows up, and he's getting chunked down with a flash to safety. He will escape. Montcalm's now coming in with the Predator, wants to get something back. The Gangplank ult's going to slow him down. In comes the second slow as well. The stun, the Impale has landed. Block is coming to finish it off, and they will finally punish this Aurelia.
Baron.
But speaking of punish, there's a 4-man Baron start on the other side of the map. It's down to half already. Chang is trying to do something, anything. A nice solo player finally picks up 2 stuns, but there's no smite, there's no secure. The Rise ult to safety. TP committed too late.
Is that really
They're gonna escape to the tower, and that's a pretty nice trade for Hydra.
I think it would
Or
be. And I
Chimaera,
mean,
I
that's
should say.
really. Yeah, no. Yeah.
Bad trade for Hydra. Real bad trade for Hydra.
You were able to pick up the kill on the Aurelia, but you're able to get an extra blasting wand. A lost chapter. Not a lost chapter, but a tome for
A book,
your Inter here.
some sort.
A book, an amplifying tome. You are able to get it for them, which does really put you ahead, which is actually really weird to say. Into the mid game, your Inter is ahead of SRG Chang here by almost an item because of the Quicksilver Sash. It would be a full item. And just being able to be in that state tells me that it's going to be very hard for Hydra to actually face a 1-3-1 that the side of Chimaera can play with this Aurelian Rise.
It's interesting to see that Sebcraft has opted for the crit second item as well. He's gone away from the Sterax, and he's not going to be able to survive. And we see him get just found out and picked off so many times by Pinata that maybe the Sterax would be a better option to help him survive this constant aggression that the Aurelia is throwing his way.
And maybe he's taking a page from Pinata's book. There was a time Pinata would play Gangplank. I believe it was against CPH McDonald, and Pinata built 2 IEs on Gangplank. And so maybe they're starting that early.
Just getting invested nice and early. We saw 2 Cloaks of Agility locked in already, so we've got the doubles on hand. Chang is now once again matched up against Piata. We'll need to see if he can get away with not losing his life this time. The Baron buff making it so hard to escape this pressure. Mid-inner is going to fall, making it 4 towers to 1. Though it is still only about a 6k gold lead. Montcalm looking for something back, isn't going to find it. Overall, Hydra, they're just getting slowly pushed back into their base.
I kind of want to stop you there. Did you say, like, only a 6k gold lead here?
I mean, it was 5k like 5 minutes ago, right? That's not like a big change, I guess.
They're trying to even off the gold lead.
Yeah.
Let's just keep it at 4. All right, let's
Consistency, if nothing else.
consistent lead. I'm excited to see if Chimaera can do what they couldn't do early on in last game, and that's just close this game out effectively. They have all the tools in hand. They have Baron. They're pushing out all the waves. Can they ward effectively? Can they clear effectively? And can they make sure that if Hydra do win a fight, there are no objectives for them to get, which kind of leaves them with that extra gold lead as Postcassin goes in and out.
A Postcassin special. He can actually escape this time. We're getting at this tower as well. Looks like Hydra have arrived, but a little late. But the ult's been committed. Xayah ult committed very early.
Yeah, this is rough.
Looks like there's going to be no punish on this.
You can't punish. Your siege potential is just a lot greater when you run a 1-3-1, especially with Baron and powered minions. And so really good on your Inter, not really going in and out of lane, just being able to stay in the lane, push it out. You can do that as Rise, especially after you've bought the Moral Melicon. You're not even seeing full-on mana Rise here. We're seeing, hey, I'm ahead. I have enough gold to spend anywhere I want to. As they set up for this Cloud Drake, just being able to rotate faster, especially with the Rise ult, is just going to help them, whereas the crystals for Muckholm would have helped us Garner in a similar situation.
For someone with Inter in his name, Inter had a very strong performance in 2 games. Very controlled, I would say. He's never in the wrong place. He doesn't overextend. He goes aggressive when it is safe to do so. He's got that smart aggression you were talking about. And like, as you say, if it's time to leave, he just leaves. He doesn't hang around, doesn't overstay his welcome. I think he's doing a great job this series so far.
This series, yes. I was laughing out loud, but internally, when you said he's really smart. Earlier in the split, there are times when you'd see him on Kiana, and we just get caught out all the time against a Syndra a lot of the times. And so I'm seeing progression while you're seeing that, looking at that skill here, because he's definitely progressed on these control mages more than an assassin playstyle would let him. And that's something to be proud of if you're the coach for SRG Chimaera here. Just understanding that throughout the split, your players have the ability to be flexible in their champion picks and be able to run effective 1v1s, which is even hard to break at a pro level.
Exactly. This is a particularly tough one they've got facing down here. They've got the Fed Rise on one side, the Federelli on the other, and the Zyra Khan in the mid lane. See, Montcalm, he's looking, he's checking, possibly trying to find an opportunity, but overall they just can't seem to make it stick. As Hydra, they've gone back to this strategy from game one where they always tend to group up and they're looking for advantageous fight. Oh, the flashover from Postcassin. This is the Postcassin special. He gets pushed away, is just going to walk away with his tail between his legs. Gangplank ult committed at least.
And that's what we call high risk, high reward plays. High risk because of what just happened. Being ulted on by Sebcraft, having to blow that as your enter could just delete Sebcraft if they could only land a Q. But just being able to use that flash and the quickness, if that play goes off, we celebrate it. But if it doesn't, we kind of question those decisions. And so if you are the side of Chimaera, you want to kind of stray away from those high-risk, high-reward plays because you're in the lead, and you don't want to make good teams don't in positions to make mistakes. And so I hopefully want to see them close out this game with this Baron coming up.
Yeah, so far we aren't seeing the repeated gold comebacks and throws from game one. This has been relatively consistently in Chimaera's favor. They are now going to go onto this Baron, as you say, with Yaginta waiting in the wings. Montcalm probably has an idea something's going on here, but he's in a 1v4. This team is not there to back him up. Down to 6,000 health. They're getting it chunked down nice and low. Pompo taking a fair bit of damage, but Yaginta, once again, he's waiting on the side. He flashes in, he's going to get knocked up, he gets it, he takes it, Montcalm sneaks away with the Baron. Blocker does get taken down, no, and now can they escape with any of the buffs? So many low health bars in that pit, but Chang, he's getting caught in the 2v1, he's escaping this Aurelia and the Rise. They are going to look to turn this fight around. Give me second blow, trapped in the Baron pit at Boomaster's mercy. Sebcraft will escape, Montcalm fleeing into the enemy jungle, but a hero steal from Montcalm could be the key to keeping them in the game.
Just staying alive just a little bit longer. They did lose.
Ooh, the damage!
This
has got to escape here. The ult might do it. Oh, the locket is going to last. He has to flash away. Very well played by Sebcraft, escaping with his life and almost getting some kills. Top lane tower has actually gone down.
Baron, and Montcalm was still able to make it back with Baron, but they aren't able to stop the siege because of how many people died.
Oh, another great barrel. He's so low. Predator, surely this is the chance for Montcalm. But snipes him out with that W from Blocker and a shutdown on Yaginta. Finally, something's going in the favor of Hydra.
But this is kind of what I talked about. As soon as Baron was happening, just being able to close out a game and not being able to time a potential 50-50 that you saw coming, CJ. They saw it coming. They had the ward there. You knew that Montcalm had flash up. This is just something that either you have to W over as Postcassin and disrupt Montcalm here, or you just don't burst the Baron down and you give your jungler enough time to smite it there. Because with this Baron buff, they can push for those towers.
Oh, there's no QSS. There's a shutdown, an absolute obliteration on the Zyra right there. Now the Baron is still alive. Yaginta's not Yaginta, Sebcraft's in that top lane. They're
giving me hope
for
game 3, Hydra.
Yeah, that's the TP coming in. They're going full NA-RAM now. Here comes the Hydra special. They're committing for this inhib. This is such a nice play. Another stun lands. Second blue Yaginta. It's been used. The stun has come through the Snow Quick Silver Sash with a full engaged. Up Pinata has come down. It's shredding through everybody. They're just getting destroyed by Pinata. He is killing one. He's killing two. He's on Blocker's case. But now he's actually escaped Blocker. Killer 6. He turns it back in. He's got a shutdown. It's an ace. A clean ace. And they're pushing for the win. Hydra are going to take the second game. They snatch victory from the jaws of defeat off one Baron steal. And suddenly the series is 1-1.
I can't comprehend this. Okay, so let's unpack what we've had. They still don't have a gold lead at the end of the game. I kind of want to let you know that. Like, at the end, they were not able to secure the gold lead. But what they were able to do was they were able to take what advantage they could get, which was Baron. They were able to hold the base because Chimaera got a little impatient. They were not able to really push back, pull back, say, hey, we still have the lead. I know Baron is gone. We can reset. We're the stronger team. And they basically just gave Hydra the game by getting those picks, which is exactly what they needed to come back in the game. And so That's incredible. I am flabbergasted. An incredible series that we have here. Just being able to come back from the breath of defeat. If Hydra wants to win one more time, they're definitely going to have to win the early game and not give Chimaera the tools to succeed, which we saw in this past game here. Looking at the graphs here, even though Seb was behind, Sebcraft still did the most damage in the game with 22,014. That is the online power of a Gangplank here. Even getting behind, what, 3 kills in lane, CJ?
Yeah. 0-3 at one point.
Oh my god.
I mean, if I was on the LEC broadcast right now and I had all their fancy tools, I would go to the end screen right here and I would draw a real big circle over Boommaster's items and then write where QSS on the screen because I don't see it. And if he had it, he would have lived, and then the game wouldn't have ended 10 seconds later. He just got obliterated in mid.
I think the thing is, you didn't really feel like you needed to take the QSS stocks, which is really good on your enter for being able to do that. But that's just a communication thing. If you think that, oh, well, I don't need it, I'm just going to build a GA because our team is so ahead. But even looking at the gold lead, I mean, Blockade did get a bunch of shutdowns at the end, and so we are able to see almost 2,000 gold lead on the Bowmaster. But not being able to even be relevant in these fights because now you're relying on post-casting to play proactively instead of reactively, and then Second Blue can just be a CC bot. They used their team to incredible precision at the end. They were able to snowball all the way down the mid lane, NA ram everything, and take that win for Hydra. Overall, the draft phase for Game 3 is going to be the most important part of that game. If I see another Gangplank, I'm going to probably be a little angry. But it was used to great effect here, so I wouldn't be surprised if it is 100% pick ban rate for Game 3.
Exactly, and everybody, my dream has been realized. We are going to Game 3. We are going to a short break right now. We'll be back for the final deciding game of SRG Hydra versus SRG Chimaera on this Halloween night. Please do not go anywhere. We will be back very, very shortly.
It's so spooky.
Legends never die when the world is calling you. Can you hear them screaming out your name? Legends never die, they become a part of you. Every time you bleed for reaching greatness, relentless, you survive. They never lose hope when everything's cold and the fighting's near. It's deep in their bones, they'll ride into smoke when the fire is fierce. No, pick yourself up, 'cause legends never die.
Welcome back, everybody, for what should be the final time here for our third game in this series of Hydra versus Chimaera. We got blown back on our heels at the end of that second game, Hat, when they completely turned it around. Hydra, they looked like they were down for the count, honestly, but then that 9 count hit, and they stood up and they just haymakered Chimaera right back in the face. And now here we are, one apiece. What's gonna happen next? I have no idea.
Dude, I don't know either. Why are you asking me? Okay, so a big part of this is gonna focus around the mid lane and kind of top lane prowess, because that's where all of these fights have happened. Although Blake and Bowmaster have done a lot of damage this game, what we've seen is that Chang, Inter, Pinata, and Sebcraft have been the playmakers for this series. We like playing Silver Scrapes, it doesn't matter anymore. We're into draft phase. This is the most important part of the game, and I'm excited to actually see the picks and bans come out, because this will tell me if a team is finally going to focus on an early game. We kind of saw it a little bit with Chimaera, but they picked the Rise and they had the Irelia for the mid game. I think if one team really focuses on an early game draft here, they might be able to pull out ahead, because we've played 2 games that have gone to semi late. So being able to catch another team off guard in a draft phase, especially with like a Nocturne, or especially with like that Hecarim pick that was banned out last game, I think is going to be really beneficial. But more than likely, Gangplank pick right off the bat. All right.
I mean, now I don't want to flame, Hat, but I'm quite honest. I've seen both supports play Leona,
Yes.
and I probably wouldn't have banned it if I was either team, honestly.
I don't. Maybe they just got tired of it.
I don't think
Maybe
it's
they
been a
just like this
linchpin in their success. It's been shaky, shall we say, from both players. However, they did get that Gangplank locked in, so at least they've gotten something of high value here. And Boomaster, he's actually moved onto the Kai'Sa with the Nautilus, which got left up. The Leona got banned,
Because of the Leona ban.
and now the Nautilus is available, and now they're going against probably
Caitlyn Morgana.
the other strongest duo.
Oh
in
my
the
god.
game.
Oh my god.
Oh,
Yes!
dude, we're throwing everything out the window. Okay, right. Isaiah's garbage. We hate it. Rakan, worthless, overrated. We're going to Kai'Sa Nautilus versus Caitlyn Morgana. This could be a very, very spicy bot lane.
So actually, I love seeing a Caitlyn Morgana, as you see by my apparent excitement, because it really switches up the playstyle from what we do see in this meta. And so the Kai'Sa Nautilus is good, and I would argue that Kai'Sa Nautilus is a better lane. But if they can set their team up, if Monkholm can either play a super tanky jungler, or mid lane can really be super aggressive roaming like your LeBlanc or your Twisted Fate, you're really able to set up plays across the map and still have that adequate split pusher in Sebcraft here. Banning the Rise, great choice. They banned the Caston, great choice. And now it resolves Inter to pick this Kiana pick that I think they're going to try to funnel him into here. And if they can't do that, maybe we see the Fizz. Maybe we see your Inter's Fizz. But this is actually, hopefully, I'm crossing my fingers here, a really good draft from Hydra. Just being able to pull out something new, something different, because you have the counter picks right in front of you.
Exactly, and they've secured that power pick GP along with this new bot lane. Chang's Syndra is still available. They've banned the Irelia away from Pinata.
I don't think they're afraid of the Syndra. I don't.
But what's Ginter gonna play? You think he's gonna play the Kiana going into? Oh, actually, the Kao's still available.
Is this a bringing it back?
So we've seen Sebcraft play it. We didn't see Pinata on it so far. It seems like it would be maybe a strange thing to put your Ginter on, given we know how mechanically strong this guy is. But I mean, on the Rise as well, he had a very controlled performance, which, as you said, was a little out of character. But I don't want to. It was very good nonetheless.
It was good.
So
yes, I agree.
I would trust him not to go insane on the Kayle. Seems like if the champion is low key, he can be low key. And it's actually a Zoe locked in for Chang here.
This is a tried and true poke comp here. If they pick Karthus in this jungle, suddenly you have quite literally a poke comp that waits for Prompo to engage. We are seeing the Poppy, which I assume is going in the jungle here, which is going to stop the dashes from Prompo. It can stop a dash from Nautilus. It can stop a Kai'Sa dash as well for Bowmaster. This pick right here is going to seal the deal and tell me if Chimaera definitely doesn't want me to favor Hydra in here, because if Hydra plays this right, they can snowball very easily with the range advantage on this Caitlyn and this Zoe. There it is.
Okay, so we've got the Kiana, and this is the champion that you mentioned that Ginter can sometimes live up to his name on, as opposed to being controlled. We're going to see
But-
Pinata's shot at the Kale, but this Kiana, I think, is going to be pretty integral.
He's just like his Kassadin play, right? There's times where you catch out of position, but I haven't seen Winter get out of position and then not take the game back. All right, Chimaera's still good at that, and I have full faith that if I was in solo queue with Winter, Kiana would be godlike. But unfortunately, you're against Chang, who is against one of the most annoying champions in League of Legends. They also have a Morgana, which is like the first champion I picked up, which is again one of the most annoying champions in League of Legends. And so just being able to use your poke, use your skill, and with Hydra, they're actually utilizing a comp that relies on patience and proactivity instead of all in, engage, hope for level 6. And so we haven't even been able to talk about this jungle matchup again on this top lane. CJ, this is going to be a fire game 3. Mark my words. Knock on wood.
Overall, if we look at what Chimaera's built, it seems like all 3 games they've built a relatively similar idea. They've got good scaling team fighting AD carry. They've got like frontline. They've at least 2 frontliners, and they've got big scaling damage. They've got CC. They build really nice team fighting comps overall. And for the large part of game 2, it was working really well, and they were looking super in control. It was all great. And then, I mean, something happened. I forgot what it was. My memory.
The Fire Nation attacked.
Honestly, yeah, the Fire Nation attacked, and then suddenly now here we are in game 3. So I think that they are still playing the same style, and the only difference really is Ygginter on this hardcore assassin as opposed to a control mage or something a little bit more reserved. But their team is still more or less the same in what it's going to do, and it makes me think that Chimaera is going to play more or less in the same way. Prompo's going to gank sometimes early. He's going to try and get his lanes ahead, and then they're going to look for big fights later on, possibly with Ygginter split pushing. And that's worked like 75% of games 1 and 2. It's just that it didn't actually get them a win in game 2, unfortunately. And now they're playing against a completely different style, as you say, with the poke, with the Zoe, just the irritation, the mental damage that's going to be coming their way. We need to see if they don't crack under what was probably a pretty tilting loss. And now they've got these champions to play against. I'm hoping that they can remain consistent.
Me too. The reason you'd pick a Punk comp is into a double tank front to back play. And that is literally what Hydra drafted here. I was expecting pretty standard. They picked the GP first. They value that as a pick. And I was like, all right, that's fine. And then just being able to come out of the gates and say, actually, we're going to go Caitlyn Morgana. We're going to pick Zoe here. We're going to poke you out. We're not going to play in these side waves and these jungles. We're going to be out. We're going to catch you out. We're going to get you low health so that you can't start any objectives. And then we can come in and clean up. And I really believe that's what Muckholm's job here is just being able to really set the stage for the damage that will come in from Block and Chang here.
There's going to be a lot of that coming forward. So overall, I think bot lane, I would imagine, is going to be pushing up, right, for Hydra. They've got Caitlyn Morgana. They can quite safely shove it up and pressure them under the tower. Muckholm can maybe run defense on them, just using that steadfast presence to stop Prompo getting anything done. The thing that is worrying me a little is that Chang plays pretty aggressively in mid lane. He stands pretty far up. It has been a little punishing for him so far how aggressively he positions. And when you're against the Kiana, give away first blood at level 2 or 3 maybe, and suddenly as soon as you step in front of the walls near mid lane, you're dead. And I'm hoping that this doesn't become a snowballing problem for Hydra if Chang now actually gets punished more severely.
Yeah, and I don't think they will, but hopefully it's a relatively simple or maybe just an easy game for Chimaera. Because by all means, I know I'm hyping up Hydra here, but Chimaera, if they get ahead, they will snowball this game. Because the one thing about poke comps is how do you beat a poke champion? One way to beat a poke champion is just with that engage, right? Can you engage faster than they can poke you down? And that can be done with Prompo, Ygginter, and Postcassin. They just have to be sure that they're being proactive, that they're making plays before Hydra can actually get them down or cut them down to size.
And we have seen no shortage of aggression from both sides overall, so now this is Hydra's chance to mix it up and show us something different. And as you said, you're hyping them up. I'm super excited for them as well, because they have if they manage to bring the series back at the end of game 2, they snatch victory there and then completely mix up their strategy, and if they can play this one out well, get really great advantages and win this game decisively, that would be such a great turnaround for them, and they would definitely earn that spot near the top of the leaderboard. We are getting onto the Rift very shortly, and we'll see how this level 1 plays out. Once again, we have even more level 1 tools. We've got Morgana bindings, we've got Nautilus hooks. I want to see it invade, Hat.
I really do. I don't know if that's possible, in part because
And if it's possible.
Yeah, you're right. But it depends on what Chang brings and if Malcolm is ready with that Q, because the Morgana binding, it can catch you out, but it will only catch you out if you do see the invade coming in from Chimaera, and I don't believe they'll be ready to do that.
Yeah, they might be able to. We'll need to see. I think that the skill shots haven't really been the most impressive so far. We'll need to see that both of these champions now, both the Nautilus and Morgana, are pretty reliant on landing that skill shot. Hopefully we'll be able to see them actually get that, get that aim sighted in a little bit, so we can see a bit more explosive trades. Most of the damage that we saw coming from bot lane, especially in game 2, everyone just kind of piled in on each other, and then the Xayah just blade called and ripped through everybody. Now I think we're going to see a little bit of a different dynamic. I do like that the cleanse actually has been picked up on Boomester,
Yes.
given the fact that the QSS potentially cost them the game last
I would
time.
argue, I would argue that that was a factor, but also, like I said, like with Chang has CC, Malcolm has CC, Second Blue has CC, Block A has traps. Like, you're gonna need to cleanse here, and while they don't have a heal in the bot lane, that could be easily exploited by Malcolm as long as they establish vision control. I don't think, even though Sebcraft and Malcolm are walking up and warding, I don't really think they're gonna start an engage here. Oh, Postcasted now knows that binding isn't the starting for, which is helpful in
I
lane.
want to see level 1. I want to see the level 1 2v2. I want to see
don't know if we're gonna
the
get
cogs
this.
going.
But we might definitely see a level 2, especially with Brompo and J4, hopefully getting over their fear of ganking really early, and I really just want our junglers to be impactful early, which is something we could see from a level 3 Poppy.
Blocker has gone for the fleet footwork in bot lane as well, so there's much less impact from that keystone. It's really just about keeping yourself topped up and keeping yourself ahead and shoving them in, get that CS advantage coming in. So when it comes to, straight up combat, there's a little bit less strength on that Caitlyn, though of course the setup can be so strong for Caitlyn Morgana, as you said, the bindings into the traps.
No.
Ooh, they've got the level 1.
There they are.
They give me what I want. There comes that hook. He's got straight onto Caitlyn. A flash burned at level 1. Couldn't really ask for a better start.
No, not for Chimaera. They need this early game advantage, because as it gets until later and later in this laning phase, it's just going to be harder and harder to grab those relic stacks, to get some poke in, especially when Black Shield comes online.
This is exactly what I wanted here, though it must be said 5 CS has still been secured by Blocker, and only 2 actually for Boomester. They're already getting pushed back. The wave control instantly in the control.
And that's just respect.
Caitlyn. Yeah,
they're like all 3 lane. This is when you want to pick a jungler like a Mundo or a Poppy, is when your lanes early game will have so much impact on the map that you don't have to then go and save them or set up for a potential gank. We are seeing almost a full clear for Muckholm here as they make their way topside, and we are seeing a full clear from Prompo as per usual on this J4 before they impact any of the lanes. As a Sleepy Trouble Bubble comes in from Chang, and the damage on top of Ginter here.
Ooh, dang, dude. The Ignite's actually been dropped very early. Flash burn from Ginter as well. Chang, a revitalized person in this mid lane. He is taking utter control.
And we didn't really respect Chang on the Syndra a little bit, but seeing them on a mobile champion, seeing on one that could actually make plays, a real big playmaker here, I'm seeing the ability of Chang to really impact the lane on your Ginter on an assassin on an early level, which doesn't really have that impact.
We got a 2v2 developing. Prompo doesn't get the flash, puts the mastery up just to make everybody sure what's happened there. Zoe picks up a flash, an extra flash for a trouble. Overall, gonna be relatively pleased with that setup.
And I think Hydra's coming in with just a little bit more fire. They have the tempo lead. They had the tempo advantage. Game 2 really set them ablaze here. And it shows in the draft. More importantly, it's just showing in how they're prioritizing lane management here. They were able to get Prompo to come mid, even though Prompo didn't even have to blow flash on Zoe, which is one of the harder champions to gank. even before level 6 with that ultimate. So we are seeing what we had seen early game, just a little bit, or early game 1, just a little bit reversed in this top lane. Pinata taking the place of Seb on this Kale, just being pushed back in a little bit. And if we were to sum up this series, CJ, it would just be who has been the better Gangplank.
Oh, get straight on with the Sephiroth presence into the grounding. Yginter can't do anything. Escapes with the audacity, but a flash first blood Malcolm with the 1v1 in mid lane.
And it's just lack of vision, right? You're putting your Inter behind just a little bit. You're pushing the tempo on yourself just a small way, so that then you can come in with your W, stopping the dashes from your Inter on this Kiana, and really being able to use your damage, in which Poppy does a lot of, very effectively. And so, good kill from Moncomb. Hopefully we get a little bit more scaling from them. And hopefully Prompo is able to actually make impact, as their top lane and their mid lane are being pushed in very heavily.
I think the winds are changing on Summoner's Rift right here. When game 1 was so back and forth, game 2 almost entirely in the favor of Chimaera, snatched their victory away, and now game 3 Hydra, they're looking completely in control. They're taking wins all across the map in 1v1 scenarios. Oh, a nice hook, threading that needle through the minions. Block it is going to be forced back. Only damage as the trap zones them away. But really, bot lane, post-Cassidum, Burmester, they're the only ones with any kind of agency in this game so far for Chimaera.
Yeah, you were saying when to change. I'd say it's the rise of the elements for Hydra here, as they slowly try to take back this series after a really exciting game 1 that they still could have taken. And so, as Dragon is the next objective to be up, we're definitely going to see Moncomb try to path that way bot. And Prompo, even though low on mana, still clearing camps, is definitely going to have to go back for that first buy and try to path down there as well. Overall, not setting themselves up in a great jungle atmosphere, but hopefully just being able to help your lanes after you get a Bammy Center or an upgraded jungle item. Just a little bit more health on this Conqueror Jarvan, because more often than not, you're not going to be able to keep going into a lane, especially with a Poppy W online. And so you will have someone there ready to counter your ganks.
Prompo running out of time to have too much effect on this early game. The first dragon is an Infernal, so we could see a fight developing over that, but Infernal being picked up for both teams can just be so impactful. I mean, for Poke, it's even harder for the enemy team to survive as soon as you land your abilities, but then when you got a nice team fight in comp brewing, the Kiana with Infernal bumping up that damage can be such a massive threat. I really think this is going to be heavily contested, honestly. 2 people have moved over it. We've got Prompo and Yginter getting those wards down, checking the scuttle, but 4 members of Hydra are in the area. They don't want to give anything away for free.
Oh, the damage coming in.
My goodness,
that's just a 2 Doran's Ring Zoe. Being able to lay so much damage in, as the dragon will potentially go over to the side of Hydra here. Just being able to lay those Caitlyn traps down, understanding when they're coming in. Not having the ult up yet for Bowmaster means you probably can't enter. But Prompo,
they're not
looking
doing
for
it
a way
very
in
fast.
here.
There's a TP coming in from Sebcraft, though Chang has rotated, but Yginter's nowhere to be seen. He's low, and the ultimate will come down. That Cannon Barrage easily sealing the deal, and that's the Infernal Drake picked up nice and early for Hydra.
And they're definitely going to need that, as we were talking about before, a little bit with the damage discrepancies in this bot lane. Kai'Sa can scale to a monster, but we slowly forget, and that's why I'm so excited about this Caitlyn Morgana lane, is that Caitlyn, just with enough items, especially with this BF sword, as Prompo comes in,
Moncomb is nearby, but not close enough to have any real effect. Isn't really going to achieve too much. Yeah, he's just waiting in the wings, probably just going to go back to the farming. Not really anything achieved.
And this is very natural for Prompo. Goes to a lane, gets called off, then goes back to farming. This doesn't degrade any natural ability, as we are seeing top lane actually be switched around for aggression, as Pinata has reached that level 6 mark for Kale. Prompo will have a little bit more of effect on lanes, and more importantly, like, as players start getting their levels here, we are going to see laning phase kind of turn a little bit. We are seeing your Inter push up and be able to have that impact, especially with their supreme display of talent.
Post-Cassin throws that hook, despite the binding, is going to get it, but Black Shield's been used. The killer instinct committed flash from Give Me Second Blue keeps him alive. More aggression from Chimaera, stymied out by the side of Hydra, but Yorinta is in the area. The ultimate is available, Supreme Display of Talent is available. They don't have the wave just yet. The flash hook lands on him. He's got no flash now, nowhere to go. Yorinta picks up his first kill of the game.
And that's exactly what you want to see from your intro. Being solo killed early on, being down a little bit of farm, being able to pick up the team at 4 push power so that then you can roam. And that's really what we talk about when we talk about mid lanes that can be impactful around the map. Can they push out their wave against a mage counterpart and then be able to affect bot lanes that are pushed in, or potentially top lanes, as we're seeing here for Sepcraft?
Oh, he's flashing in. Montcalm is coming behind him. He's got nowhere to go now. He's trapped in towers. The flash from Montcalm tries to get in range, but he doesn't check which way he goes. And now Brompo is almost there. Chang is trying to cut him off at the pass.
Can he take Sepcraft?
Man, he's drowsy. He is stunned. He is not invincible anymore. Pinata can do no more as Chang secures that kill. Brompo has to watch in agony as his top laner goes down.
Oh, flash from your enter after the
nice
binding
reading.
from Second Blue comes in through this mid lane.
It's going to be a nice free flash for Chang as well. 2 for the price of 1. That's 2 flashes to the side of 0 for Yorinta. Montcalm now contesting. A nice stun. Gets a neat little angle on the wall there with the GP ult and the Poppy ult. So Propo can't escape. Montcalm with another kill in the base. Almost the 1v1. Just the GP ult to help him along with that one. And the spamming of the taunts on the vision. Montcalm is feeling himself.
He is, and I think just making up for the lackluster Skarner play that we really didn't see as the supports kind of meander in this mid lane. We are gonna see if we can get this gold lead back on the spot lane for Blockade as Rift Herald gets picked up by Hydra here. If it can be contested by Brompo, which I don't think it will be, you're definitely gonna wonder what type of platings they can get because they were able to get Herald so early.
Always been Chimaera that have been picking up these plates early in both games. Now Yorinta's actually fully committing. The Supreme Display Talent has landed, the stun is achieved, but the extra flash from Chang coming in clutch. Blocker is being committed on once again. The hook goes wide. Cannot secure a kill there, and the Herald, it's been immediately dropped top lane. Plates are going to fall. Gold is going to be secured. They still have 2 members up here, but overall I think it's going to get taken down relatively quickly.
And I think they might be overstaying here.
Ooh, Prompo's caught Seb under the tower. The tower shots are coming down. And now it's Montcalm soaking them up with Prompo. He's getting chunked low as well. Montcalm finishes them off. At least we'll get that trade, but a shutdown in Kale's pocket.
And overall, I think Chimaera coming back into this game really relies on the mistakes that are being made.
Oh, Chang. Jesus. Oh, he lands it. Yorinta doesn't dodge. He jukes back and forth and still eats that star. Chang uses his actual flash this time. Clean solo kill the mid.
And I didn't think Chang had enough mana to finish that.
I know, same.
Q here. But just being able to get that solo kill, getting a little bit more lane pressure, being able to push out is going to set you up for the next round of objectives that come in. We are seeing Infernal Drake being pinged and spawning in the next 30 seconds. And so I think for the team that does have the most vision around, Chimaera is definitely set up to do something about this dragon play, unlike last time where they were forced to sit back and enjoy the view as Hydra took that first Infernal.
Yes, if they can actually get some good layering together, Yorinta, the ultimate will be up before too long. Prompo, decent amount of cooldown on his. Pinata might have the TP up if it's left long enough. They've got 4 members around there. Blocker and Give Me Second Blue are still coming back from base, so they might have a little bit of a window. They've started up the Infernal. Chang's rotating over, but they're so afraid of the engage. They're pulling it out. Blocker's nowhere to be
Poppy's
seen.
Scary.
Damage is coming through. The ultimate's channeled, and they are going to knock out nobody. They actually missed, but they've still gotten the retreat, and the Dark Binding lands. The Dredge Line pulls him to safety, but Yorinta's caught Second Blue. A nice stopwatch keeps him alive. The TP now from Pinata. This is all over the place. Yorinta now, Pacific Blue, is completely alone on the other side.
They're still taking Dragon.
To keep Purple alive. Montcalm actually secures it. Supreme Display of Talent goes all the way around the world, and it's overall Chimaera. They pick up the kills, but they don't pick up the dragon.
And if I am Chimaera here, I'll take that. I'll take another kill unless Sepcraft can get out.
Coming down, Sepcraft in the 1v3. If he gets 1 Q onto Yorinta, he could trade this one across, keeps him alive, but the Ignite is too much. He does trade his life for post-Cassim though.
And he does it in a commanding fashion. I think they're being able to take so many tower plates right before this 14-minute mark. Just being able to solidify that, also being able to kill Blockade and being able to stop Malcolm even after the dragon was taken, resetting all of this bounty gold on the enemy team, is going to then now set Chimaera up for a little better mid game than they had originally thought. First tower looks to be going down in this bot lane after another
Out of
wave.
minions. Yep.
Yeah, you are out of minions here. You really can't hit it. Towers hit a lot harder when they don't have any minions on your side to power up.
Yeah,
So,
looks like he's gonna go back. So tower will survive, I guess. Looks like Blue
we
Master
are seeing a lane switch, though. We are seeing Block A and Second Blue go into this mid. They are trying to force down this mid tower and regulating Sebcraft to this bot lane. We are going to see if Sebcraft can handle your enter, being a level down and not having a much damage as your enter can pile in, especially with the Supreme Display of Talent, that Ignite, and Electrocute.
Overall, we have seen a little bit of your prophesied version of Yginter come out this game. We've seen some questionable deaths, but that dragon fight got him right back into this game and is now on a 1-2-4 scoreline. Now they're getting this mid lane pushed up, and we're just kind of seeing a repeat. Poppy with that range demolish procs, really nice interaction there that Poppy has. Sevcraft rotating up. It's definitely slowed the pace down a little bit, but you got to imagine Prompo and Post-Cast, and they're just looking for an excuse.
They're looking for...
Oh, we had an excuse by Yginter onto Sebcraft. Just a little bit of a trade, walks away, but we'll need to see if that develops into any more aggression in the bot lane.
I think it will, but obviously when you put a range matchup against Pinata, so you're going Zoe's Chang against Pinata's Kale, you are able to protect those towers, which is something that they want to do, especially when they want to siege this mid lane with Block A and Second Blue. And that is what they want to do. They kind of want to stall this lane out and get a little bit more farm to finish your item if you're blocked. Because guess what? You may have 900 gold, but that's not going to finish your IE, which is the first item that you really want on this Caitlyn.
Overall, we do see the gold lead has extended to about 3.5k, and so much of that, as well as the shutdown golds, does come from the plates, as we mentioned. 7 plates were secured by the red team, and a lot of them just in the last kind of 30 seconds of their availability. Only 2 plates were actually grabbed by the side of Hydra, so despite the fact that they had these push on in so many lanes most of the time, they weren't quite able to convert that into a real large gold advantage. Now it's kind of punishing them as Pinata. He's got that level 11, 2, 1, and 3. He's scaling up nicely. Brewmaster's 2, 0, and 1, almost at the Gwynsu's. It's going to get very dangerous in the mid game.
It is, and it's, I think if we can set it up right, I think we're seeing that.
Oh, the 2v1, the flash in from Montcalm, an instant stun onto Pinata. The ults come down, the divine intervention cannot save him. Sebcraft's going low, but it's not going to be enough. The shutdown secured by Poppy. A little bit of pressure kept off their Chang. He's been caught out. The root comes to Supreme Display. No stun. An easy flash away. But now Prompo comes in to secure the deal. He's got over the Ignite, and the ult will do it, but Inter is going to fall. A 1v2 outplay from
And this
Chang.
is a siege on the mid tower now. Now that Sebcraft is able to heal up with the oranges, just being able to knock this tower down and open the lane. I know we talked about this goal deficit, but it doesn't feel like Hydra has really given up any tempo, especially with just a failed 2v1 in the top lane and a successful 2v1 for Hydra in this in the bot lane on top of Pinata. Overall, I'm still like, I'm nervous, CJ. I'm nervous that one team is just gonna blow open this game when it has been so close so far. This 1,000 gold lead feels like 200.
This is looking a lot more like game 1 with the back and forth plays. Both teams not afraid to make aggressive plays to try and get their lead and keep it. Looks like mid tower is going to go down though on the back timings from Hydra, not able to keep this one alive. It is still just 1 turret to 1 though. In game 1, when we got to this point, it was what, 6 kills to 4 at something like almost 20 minutes. We're now at 18. 8 kills to 8, and with much less towers down, there's a lot more focus on the actual combat between champions right now. As Pinata, he could find himself in a spot of bother once again.
And the only backup is Postcast in here. It'd be great if Postcast and Big Thresh here. We're not going to be able to see it because of the slow coming out of Pinata's Q. But overall, just making space and setting up space for this Ocean Dragon. Postcast.
Aggressive blast cone.
All right.
The stretch lines very quickly out of that jam. But as you say,
Mailbox delivery service. Oh, goodness. Well, getting 3 dragons for the side of Hydra is not going to hurt, especially since 2 of them are the Infernal. We are seeing the IE finally come out of Block A here. and waiting for that second item as you just get caught out if you're Malcolm here.
Goodness, he's just got that steadfast presence on. Blops Prompo's flag and drag, but the Cataclysm still comes out. Cannon Barrage layered on as well. Prompo has to retreat. The flash has been used. Sepcraft getting aggressive, but here comes that depth charge, forcing him to flash back to his team. It's 5 men in the bot lane for Hydra, but Yaginto, he's getting the push on top.
He is, and knowing that, at least in comms, that his team is telling them, hey, you can push here. They are not going to be able to take this tier 2. Getting that extra tower push is almost made these skirmishes worth it. Damage from Chang. And Chang is only going to get stronger here, too.
He is very scary. This is just with the Ludens, and this is with Prompo going full tanky. Cinderholt, Merc Treads. Looks like he's building towards a Gargoyle Stone Plate. This guy is a beefy J4, and even he has to be scared of this one-item Zoe.
And granted, when they made Jarvan, they didn't say, oh yeah, he's going to be a tank. So it's still until, that's why you build so much health on Jarvan when you go tank Jarvan. It's because naturally he isn't very tanky, and so those bursts are going to be very impressive. But what's more impressive is on like a champion like a Nautilus, you want to see someone get half health. Chang doing a full combo into post-casting will kill the Nautilus, and that is what's really scary here.
Speaking of scary, Blocker's moved up to this top lane. Yaginta's still in the area. He's on his own right now. He is going to retreat, but Montcalm is doing such a good job at following around where the pressure is going to be and catching out the members of Chimaera in those side lanes. He's gotten a lot of value out of it so far. He's getting a lot of value out of this Poppy pick. He's already completed the Stone Blade and has another Chain Vest already, so he is very, very tanky right now.
He is. I'm really kind of curious to see how well Montcalm can keep up these rotations, because they do it, as you said, doing a very good job. But with Baron already spawned and no other objective on the map, not being able to establish vision control, which has been the bane of Hydra throughout this entire series, is what's really going to potentially forfeit them this, even though they have the GP ulti, they have a Caitlyn ulti, and they're able to get Chang's poke. If they can pull off the poke comp around objectives, then it'll really tell me that they are able to finish a game such as this game 3 here. If not, they might get caught out here.
Post-Cassin's waiting in the wings. They're going right onto him. Nowhere to go for you, Morgana. Instantly blown up. Montcalm is trying to get aggressive on this Kiana on the other side. Chang, the drowsy bubble lands. He is going to come through, but he can't get over the wall to finish it off. And now Zoe's getting bully circled on the backside. Supreme Despair talent comes through, but doesn't even need it. Blocker can only do so
Baron.
much. That surely is the Baron. Blocker just can't do anything to save his team.
And with the TP coming in from the Kayle, we'll see the Baron go down. And now, if we think back to last game, we now know that no Baron play is ever safe. Mainly because they weren't able to push it in last game for Chimaera, and so this is really a test of discipline here. Can they push out these waves? Can you be able, or are you able to then split your team into a comp that is more beneficial against this poke comp? And more often than not, at least from what we've seen after these last 2 games, that is a challenge for Chimaera. So I'm glad they were able to take these opportunities, but this is the real test of their fortitude here, and being able to either get picks or catch people out, or at least push out lanes with your newly found Baron buff.
Exactly. So if you're the side of Hydra here, and you're now facing down this team fight comp with plenty of engage, plenty of mobility to get on top of you, they've got the Baron buff as well. How are you going to be able to keep them off you? Is it just going to be trying to shove the waves as best as possible? Are you going to try and catch them on rotation? What's the best play for Hydra to keep themselves in this game?
So you hit enter,
Nice.
you type in chat, please don't. And then just
Don't end tryhards. Yeah,
Don't end tryhards. And if that doesn't work, then all you have to do is match their potential 1-3-1. Although they aren't going it right now, they are setting up the lanes for it. And so you're setting up that, and then you're hoping that Sepcraft can just hold towers. Remember, these outer turrets right here aren't that important when they have Baron. You can give these up a little bit. The reason they're not that important is because there's still flanking potential, as we're seeing from Prompo up in this top lane. Just being able to flag and drag over that wall. It's good that you're protecting it and wasting this Baron buff, but it's not absolutely needed, and you shouldn't get caught out for it. We are seeing the ultimate come out from Montcalm, being able to keepers or verdict them away from that top tower. But as this new dragon comes up, we are seeing the side of Chimaera kind of get pushed back and go for this Drake and try to reset their waves. Because it's a poke comp, CJ, they are able to clear really quick against a siege that relies on being close to a tower, or at least getting a pick before they're able to siege. And that's why it's going to be a little bit difficult for Chimaera.
I imagine it's pretty scary trying to dive into the face of something like Poppy's Gangplank ultimates, Morgana ultimates as well. It's got to be a bit worrying, and they know they lost a lot of tempo in other games doing similar moves. In fact, it was Hydra, I think, that did the same thing in game 1, or was it was it Chimaera? No, it was Hydra that was pushing in with the Kale, and then they dived bot lane tower, and then they all just kind of died. So I guess they don't want a repeat of that, so they are going to take it nice and slow, as you say. I mean, Chang is doing a good job on the side. Yginta may be looking for something to do, but overall, I think this is just the easiest thing for them. Pinata has done a great job at staying ahead on this Kale against Sebcraft, who's just doing decent damage, but Postcasson now wants to maybe lock him in, but there's no way.
Just showed too early. Wasn't able to get the minion wave here and actually do that tower dive. As the ultimate comes in, not able to really finish up Pinata. Pinata does have a little bit of that lifesteal coming in from the Gunblade, so they are able to heal up quickly. They were able to secure that Ocean Drake, which will help them out of combat, or in the jungle mainly. But just being able to get to level 16, I think Pinata will be a little bit more successful in this Gangplank matchup.
It does feel a little bit like Hydra did actually press enter and say, please don't push, and Chimaera said, alright, we'll just, we'll go back. We don't want to win too fast, we'll not try hard, so they are actually, they kind of retreated. They don't have level 16 yet, obviously that's going to be a big spike, but feels like the Baron is ticking away and not that much has actually been achieved.
Yeah, and something I kind of really want to point out here is, if you are on the side of Hydra, what you really want here is more damage. The reason you're not able to succeed in these team fights is because your king has 2 items to a level or 3 items, 5 and 0 Bowmaster on this Kai'Sa, and so because you are 2,000 gold down, a blockade just needs to find another item to be able to either crit faster or just lay into them so that team fights can be possible. Baron buff is off and will be back in the next 2 minutes, but this is that test of, is this poke comp going to sustain any siege? And if it's not, what kind of damage can you lay into a team such as Chimaera just to be able to get them off or even turn the tide of a skirmish?
Now, if we take a quick look at the gold lead, it's only 6k, and here comes the engage onto Prompos. Castor's under tower. Oh, the trouble bubble has kept him knocked up there. The tower shots have taken Prompo very low. Gangplank ultimate used, tower still secured. So they escape into the jungle, but I mean, now the gold lead is almost 7k, and as we know from last game, 6k gold leads pretty easily surmountable if you're Hydra, right?
It's nothing, you're right.
It's nothing.
When you were talking about, oh, it's only a 6k gold lead, you meant it back then, you know? They can definitely bring it back. As we've seen from Hydra, they're just going to have to find another creative way, and if you're on the side of Chimaera and if your goal is to bring Hydra back in the game, you're going to have to serve them basically opportunities on a silver platter, because right now you have major map control that is slowly being pushed out by Hydra here.
Postcasson does push Montcalm away. They try to get some Baron vision. It's pretty conclusively in the favor of Chimaera here. They've caught Zoe out of position though. The ultimate's been used. He sees now he's running back to tower. Interference being run by Montcalm. He's charging that Keeper's Verdict all the way up. Doesn't even throw it in the end. But now Sebcraft's been caught by Yginta. The ultimate's been committed, but now has to run back into the jungle once again. A lot committed, but no kills secured for Chimaera. They do have this river control.
What Hydra really need to do is they need to push out the opposing lane of the next objective, and since they weren't able to do that, Baron is going to spawn and be promptly started by all of the damage on Pinata. You're enter here, and it's going to be a really hard contest from...
Ooh, they peeled off though. The Montcalm, he's ulted the Jarvan away. Now he goes for the fight in earnest. Stun the Nautilus into the wall, getting chunked very low. He actually goes down by Sebcraft. The ultimate's been committed. Pinata, Divine Inspection, flashes in aggressively with the ultimate, but Blocker survives. He is
I've never seen him throw this.
Now Prompto comes in for the side to finish off this Caitlyn. Now he gets stunned into the wall. Chang has to flash away. Boomaster engaging hard on this Kai'Sa on the other side. Chang is getting chased away. What looked like a fight that could go either way. Chimaera, they've come out on top.
And they came out on top. Actually, I didn't think they would come out on top there, but I want to congratulate Bowmaster for not getting caught out. If their damage is then caught out there, then Blockade can do more. Then Sebcraft doesn't have to die. And now they're able, because Bowmaster's up, able to start and melt this Baron. I was afraid they were not able to do it because they stopped Baron, got caught in, and blew Pinata's Kale ult. And because they blew it so soon, I felt like it was going in the way of Blockade, in the way of just being able to take fights. Hydra thing that we've seen this entire series. I don't believe they'll be able to secure this Drake, and
Colin has to flash away. The depth charge easily forces him out of the pit, and that's going to be another objective secured by Chimaera. A little bit of damage thrown up by Chang, but nothing he can do.
And overall, I think Chimaera is just thankful that they did not give a second Baron over to Hydra. Just like last game, I think they're glad to be still back in it. But more importantly, when you look at the gold and you still look at the state of the map, if you're the side of Hydra, it's not even close to being lost. What you really need to do is just make sure that you're warded up and ready to go. This is the second Baron siege that you'll face, and this time you're a little stronger. And while arguably so is Chimaera, it's better that a poke comp is able to clear faster on a Baron siege than a 5v5 comp can actually see. And so they are still okay here, but I do want to see Blockade step up because that's something that we just haven't seen from this Caitlyn.
Blocker did have good performances on the Kai'Sa, but I can see why Brewmaster threw the Xayah out in the favor of securing the Kai'Sa. He's had a much better performance on this champion so far. The Xayah games both definitely had their low points for him, getting caught out a couple of times and getting dogpiled on, but now he's 6-0-2. 4 items completed, is having an absolute blinder of a performance. It's been a real backbone of their damage in fights.
And that's the thing, is when you run a 2-up and like 1 back, when you run a front to back comp such as Chimaera is doing, and they're not even split pushing with this Baron anymore. They could be, but
the easy chunk, just in case he's there.
But their waves don't favor Chimaera here, and I think them trying to shove down mid just wasted a lot of Baron time and actually gave Hydra more breathing room. I don't like comparing teams to pro teams sometimes, but Chimaera is looking a lot like Splice and not knowing how to close out a game effectively. Not being able to push out waves and therefore getting caught in their own demise after they secure themselves a really great lead. And so Hydra can still come back, and it's basically Hydra's time to now farm up all of these minions that are about to be ferried in as Baron buff slowly goes out.
One thing we can say about Hydra is from this series, they definitely know how to close a game out quickly. As soon as they got the opportunity last game, the game was over before you could blink an eye. And as you say, they're going to get another tower, maybe not even on this wave.
Nope.
It's just not very efficient use of the Baron buff. They might hopefully get bot lane, I guess, with this fast rotation, but the base is still standing. The gold is stacking up. There's so many opportunities for Hydra to come back.
And thankfully, they've decided to look down a little bit, use their peripheral vision, touch a side lane. Yeah. Prompo was able,
This is a strategy.
To take down that mid turret. Having the Warmogs helps, for a little bit of that security there. But just making sure that you can kind of clear these towers that you weren't able to get in your first Baron run, that should set you up for, the 3rd Baron of the game that is spawning in the next 2.5 minutes.
Probably get another tower off that one.
Oh yeah, maybe
when we hit about the 7th Baron, we'll probably win, I guess. That's probably about
I think so. Maybe when they grab Elder. Maybe Elder is what you do.
That's all my schedule plots out. We have seen 3 item spikes hit by GP and Caitlyn now. Zoe still needs a little bit more to secure that Rabadance. Once you've got that online, they might be able to contest a little bit more in damage. So you were saying they've really been lacking it a little bit. But when it comes to tanky targets, as you also said, Prompo he's pretty beefy, but overall Ginter is going to be really easy to squish. Nautilus and Kale as well, though we do have Zhonya's coming online to keep them alive. So it's going to be... They're going to have to be fast on those fingers, I think, because if they get caught up when you've got like the 3 item, i.e. Caitlyn, that's going to do a lot of damage, and the Zoe as well. It's going to be a little tighter.
And I definitely agree with you there. Where it's only around 380 on this Caitlyn, but being able to put a full combo in is exactly what you want to see. Remember, Caitlyn Morgana does not stop. Their combos throughout the entire game. whereas a Kai'Sa Nautilus is pretty much for laning phase, and then hopefully to apply that CC stacks on a Kai'Sa passive. And so just being able to help with this siege that is just going to happen and keep happening from Chimaera here until we can...
Ooh, getting very aggressive in the jungle. Prompo's been caught up in the Steadfast presence. Chang has been depth charged. In comes Supreme Slay. Talent knocks up godlike. Boomaster goes aggressive with the KL ultimate. Everybody's been chunked down low, but he's maybe been caught down. He gets shut down by Blocker. A huge crit takes his head off, and Chimaera have to retreat into the jungle.
And while they do have to retreat, and it was a 1-for-1, the shutdown was on Bowmaster here. And the kill went over to Blockade, which is not something you want to see. That's a lot of gold. That's 1,600 gold in the pocket of this Caitlyn, just being able to start building that next item. And more effectively, they're able to push out lanes here. And while this Mountain Drake is giving over, now they can start getting vision into their jungle and setting up for potentially a Baron fight of their own.
What did we say, Hat? We said that Chimaera need to be able to close the game out effectively and not take too long, not throw the game away, not give them opportunities to come back, and that's exactly what they've given them. The Rabadons is now on there. Caitlyn went straight into another full Zeal and Crit Glove. These crits are going to be beefy and coming thick and fast.
Oh.
Baron River Control has been grabbed by Hydra for the first time all game.
I think they're trying to keep themselves alive. Get that PD, but the issue here, if you're on the side of Hydra, is your Caitlyn is being spotted out in your own red jungle, which means that you can start this Baron if you're on the side of Chimaera here.
A little behind because Bowmaster was coming from jungle, from lane as well, and they've actually just walked into the jungle to try and secure some vision, but they can't get it themselves. Chang also has another cleanse on deck. This could be really important for Chang if he's getting caught up by a depth charge or similar. He might be able to use that to survive, and when he's got that extra damage coming out, another fully charged Q can completely change the course of a fight.
And well, Bowmaster's level 16 and Blockade is only level 15, not being able to have that extra damage. Getting caught out.
Chang coming in with that Sloopy Chubba Bowl. The Drought has come in. The ultimate. Oh, the ultimate through, and the Poppy ultimate moves them out of the way. Yaginta's gone down to start this one off, but now the fight has begun in earnest. Mukholm is crushed against the wall. He can't escape. Another huge chunk comes down to Prompo falls. This is a 2-for-0 so far. Postcast has to retreat. Baron? How did this go so far in their favor? Bowmaster sneaks in and grabs that kill onto Morgana, and is going to get one back for themselves. Chang is chasing hard with these extra flashes. Overall, it's a 3-for-1. 2-for-1, I should say. Both junglers down.
And the damage is up for both teams right now. This is just a poke off, and unfortunately, Chang and Blocker are going to win for the side of Chimaera here as they try to flank and catch them around.
You have to go around the side, doesn't get caught out. He's level 18 right now. 4 items completed. This is a fiendish Kale they need to be aware of. The waves are coming back in towards Hydra, and overall, nothing really happens at the end.
And we are into this late game portion where like items matter more than gold, but as you start up this dragon, which is what I was talking, or this Baron, like they can just melt it now. They have one singular Mountain Drake, but it is 36 minutes. There's just nothing you can do here. If you're on the side of Hydra.
Hydra, they send everybody back to get one wave mid lane and give up the Baron after all that work they did. But you got to imagine, if that's the kind of play they can pull off again, then, I mean, we've seen how well Chimaera handle Barons. We've seen a fair few fumbles throughout this series, so the door absolutely still wide open for Hydra.
And what they need to do is what they did last time, which is just catch out Bowmaster, get that kill, because then the damage is regulated to one character. Your enter has kind of fallen off, as most assassins do, but the Supreme Display of Talent doesn't work as well in the base as it does in these jungle corridors. And so, hopefully, maybe, it's the tale as old as time, Hydra protecting their base, Chimaera trying to siege a base, and this is round 3 of a potential...
He's got the stun. No stun to follow up though, no binding to follow. Mukholm pushed him away, retaking control of this brush, but can't find an engage yet.
And overall, I don't see, unless you go in for this hard engage with post-cast in here, there is no way that they siege these towers without taking a lot of damage themselves, especially if they want to do this group up as 5 scenario that they are pushing for here.
Caitlyn's now locking in those 1400 damage crits onto the minions. The Baron empowered ones, no less. The Sleepy Trouble Bubbles are coming in thick and fast to chunk them down. Void Staff is not yet being completed by Zoe. I assume that's what he's going for with the
Or
Blasting
Melicon.
Tome, or could complete that Melicon instead as well. Plenty of options, including Magic Pen for Chang to get locked in. But they're so afraid. Yaginto, look how far back he's sitting waiting for this wave. If a fight breaks out, he's not going to be anywhere near.
No, he's not. And I think it's just, I think Yurcher's on a different page than Chimaera. He's saying, I need to push these side waves. It's these side waves that'll get us to win. And then not just being able to rotate your team around effectively. Look at that damage.
Oh, the two barrels of Piñata and the ultimate, but all four people have rotated down. They are going to secure this tower. Montcalm has finally showed up. Yaginto is getting chunked down again. He's going to go down early. The KO comes down to keep him alive, but it can't keep him alive for long. That's going to be a trade 1-for-1 tower.
Can this Elder Drake here? Because if they get this Elder Drake here, the game might just be wide open. I know Postcastin is taking down that top tower, but at the same time, they have the damage. They have to go after this objective. They can't stop playing. Oh, they have to stop playing scared here. I know it's Halloween, but Hydra, like, you gotta grab an objective. As that teleport comes out from Piñata,
Postcastin recalled, and it's been replaced by Piñata in top. They are going to get this Elder. There's no way the SRG Chimaera can contest it, but Piñata is going to get that inhibitor very quickly using this Kale damage. Overall, now the objective goes macro in favor of Chimaera, but this fight has just gone even scarier.
Oh, and they're keeping him there.
Oh, they caught them out. Subcraft has been caught in Montcalm as well. He's going to get shut down. There's nothing that Chang can do to keep him alive. Montcalm is caught running for his life. That's 2 kills. They've got the top inhib open. They've got a wave in mid. They've got Baron. This could be the end of the game.
And it just seems like you stalled for so long and you were just not able.
Oh, the flash in. Chang has to flash away. Can he escape the grasp of Piñata? They are going to live. It's still a 3v5. The poke is still there. The burst is still there. Yaginto running down mid lane. But looks like SRG Chimaera, they want to go for the finish.
But can they do it? They have to get some good engages and they have to burst people down.
Oh, not like that. Prompo gets chunked down very low. He has... Come on, if he can get it, proc up a flash through Morgana. Isn't going to secure anything. Here comes the ultimate. Prompo is going to go down. He can't quite escape to safety. And the game is still alive. The Gianna ultimate comes down to no avail.
It's the Caitlyn show.
But just gets destroyed. In comes the engage from Boommaster. We saw this last game. Kai'Sa now ripping through the backline. Boommaster comes in. The hero blade to save the game. This is going to be Chimaera taking the series 3-1. Surely it's Montcalm.
They gotta heal first. There you go.
It's alive. Sepcraft's alive. I don't know if they can even finish yet. They don't have the ultimates that engage by.
And they don't have Baron buff anymore.
Karen and Barrage has come out. Sepcraft trying to clear the waves desperately. Montcalm as well. They can't quite get them all in. The waves are trying to crash. The barrel doesn't connect. Sepcraft doing his damnedest to keep them in this one. The last tower's going down. Depth charges come through. A flash forward. A hook onto Sepcraft, but the damage goes through. Chase has been shut down. Piñata, can he finish the game? He's got the auto attacks and he does it. Finally, down to the last auto. Hydra fight to their final breath, but it is Chimaera taking the series 2-1.
Overall, I gotta congratulate both teams on this series, not because of the decision making or them both knowing how to end the game, but to make such a day interesting, CJ. This was incredible from both sides. Just being able to draft a poke comp, not being able to execute it well, but just being able to say, hey, this is what our answer is, and then trying it, not going that full standard. So I'm going to give props to Hydra, but more importantly, Bowmaster did a lot that game. I know we want to praise Kale here and be like, look at all that damage, but just being able to finish a full build as Kai'Sa and then be able to take it down when Blockade was literally cleaning up in their own base and being able to take control of the game and then go to push. Overall, yes, there's a lot of mistakes for both teams, but it's just quality play and being able to put it away when they couldn't in game 2. And so mad props to Chimaera here, being able to do that. And more importantly, just being able to close a game and solidify their spot in the standings.
Exactly. They have taken this victory. They've earned it, and they will reap the rewards in those standings. We saw on the damage graphs, once again, the GP tops that damage chart with 33,000. Sepcraft doing a lot of work on this GP 2 games in a row, but we have to just say, Brewmaster, he turned it around so well throughout that series. He got better and better, and then landing on that Kai'Sa at the end, making the exact same play that was made against his team last game, diving in to clean up that team fight. and just barely pushing it through to get that win. Just, I wanted 3 games, I got 3 games. I don't think I could have asked for more exciting ones, if I'm honest.
Yeah, no, it was a banger to be sure, because I'm I'm just startled. I'm rattled. I know that Hydra in their next series, when these teams meet again, I am I am hyped for that matchup. I want to see good, clean league play, but I want to see those initiates that we were seeing from Postcasted and Second Blue. I want to see those a better warding from the side of Hydra, just being able to take your map by its horns and be able to time those rotations and see where the enemy team is. I would assume like Yerenter on this Kiana wasn't able to make the impact that they wanted to, especially in game 1 and game 2, but being able to pull it back and be patient is exactly what we saw from Chimaera today, and I can't wait. If this is what playoffs are going to look like, CJ, I can't wait for them in the coming weeks.
Me too, my dude. I cannot wait either. Overall, we've seen it's been a rocky road this series. We've seen ups and downs. We've seen massive fights and engages. We've seen throws and comebacks, but that is going to seal the deal for our stream today. That is going to do us for us on this Thursday Halloween night. This has been Hydra versus Chimaera. Chimaera taking it 2-1, moving up to the top of those leaderboards. My name has been CJ. Alongside me has been Hat, and we will hopefully see you all very, very soon.